Hello, everybody.
Hey, now
We
they can hear me.
apparently can hear John, but you guys apparently can't.
Now you can, because OBS said, you know what would be really funny? It'd be if we made sure that John's microphone wasn't doing audio until like a minute after he started talking. Because that'd be hilarious, is what OBS was saying, apparently. And,
Welcome to the crazy, everybody.
Hi, I'm John, the executive producer of Final Show Films, and my software is rebelling against me. I now turn you over to our storyteller for the evening, Jack.
Hey guys, this is Jack. I'm the storyteller for our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle entitled Walking Shadow. And we have 5 of our 6 characters again this evening. So let's start with introductions. Raphael will unfortunately not be joining us because he has family commitments out of state. But the rest of us will carry on in his absence. So tonight we have William.
Hello, I am William, and I am playing Alexander, the Toreador, probably optimist.
And Aaron.
Hi, I'm Erin. I'm playing Naomi, the Malkavian realist. Is that the trend we're going for?
I don't know
Fair.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
And John.
I'm John. I'm playing Gabriel Adelmont, the Premier Warlock.
And Michelle.
I'm Michelle, and I'm playing Isla, the other Toreador.
And Mara.
And I'm Mara, and I'm playing Velma, the Nosferatu pragmatist.
Pragmatist.
I don't know why the three why you guys
Optimist, realist, pragmatist.
just started coming up with descriptors.
Well,
Hey, they're good.
Someone started
They're
it.
good adjectives, Brett.
If we're doing that,
Warlock-
the Toreador masochist.
Warlock is what the Tremere are called by other vampires.
Well, I did that because I didn't want to make Michelle call herself the other Toreador.
But I did
She
anyway.
anyway. So
Yeah.
okay, here we are. But yes, thank you all for joining us this evening. We are Twitch affiliates now, so if you've got bits to share, we will totally take all your bits.
Oh yeah, bits
Anyway.
and stuff and things.
But let's get into the story. So last week, after the rather violent overthrow and sudden redistribution of power in Seattle, our group of individuals found themselves summoned into the presence of the new prince, Jameson Cunningham, a gangrel, and the former sheriff. Given the fact that the previous band of scourges, which are a number of vampires who are commissioned by the prince of a city to basically be the long arm of the law in an enforcement capacity, but given that those individuals had apparently been co-opted by whoever this murderer is, the group of vampires that you see on the screen before you are now the new scourges of the city of Seattle.
This was a terrible plan.
A somewhat double-edged assignment, given that it gives them a little bit of extra leeway and official backing behind whatever actions they take, but generally scourges find themselves a little bit on the outs in the social climate of the day because nobody wants the cops showing up
But
to
as
hang
a
out.
plus, every time they say their names now, they get to add comma Scourge of Seattle, which is
Yes,
cool.
they do. Right, which is kind
That's how we should have done the introduction.
This episode,
Next week.
Next week we'll get that done.
if we
I feel like
but-
we're gonna get fired before next week.
They were also provided
Fired?
an extra ally, given the nature of their circumstances and the fact that the city is now something of a war zone. Now that the Sabbat have decided to progress their aggressive tactics into a far more open scenario, Velma, a Nosferatu, and someone else that Jimmy Olster, their former leader, knew. Jimmy Olster knows everybody in Seattle. But he assigned her to accompany them, and from that point onward, things transpired about as much as you'd expect. Lysander attempted to steal a vehicle in order to keep it out of police custody, despite being told otherwise by Gabriel, and managed a rather ingenious use of his illusionary vampiric abilities and evaded the police that were pursuing him. So, things are working out-ish in that regard, and Jimmy is working on making sure that there's not an official APB out for Gabriel's license plates. But yes, you guys have all assembled back at Naomi's and Lysander's apartment, spending the evening discussing various issues and items that might be worthy of perusal, and then with the hour growing quite early and dawn being imminent, you all bedded down for the day there. As her head hit the pillow, however, Naomi's soul, if she has one, whatever you might call it, psyche, kind of fell through the floorboards and ended up in the garage below. Apparently, her ability to astrally project her consciousness has come into play. But before we get into that too much, we are going to roll back the clock several hours. While the late hours of darkness still wreath the Seattle streets, the byways grow quieter and more isolated. Only the occasional vehicle breaks the blackness with dim headlights flaring out of the gloom, and they recede about as quickly as they arrive. From where Isla stands, Lennon's visage looms overhead, vast and imposing in the cloud-filtered moonlight, a taciturn emblem of violent action still ensconced in the flames and guns of earlier historical conflicts. But then the click of heeled boots breaks the silence as a slight figure emerges from the skeins of intermittent fog. Her movements are graceful, fairly confident as she walks directly toward you, Isla. There's a subtle smile on her face and a rough satchel slung over her torso. Yeah, good evening, Miss Ali. I see you made it homeward safely and early. We should talk.
Have we met before?
No.
Am I permitted to know your name?
She gives a slightly thoughtful glance upward and off to one side. Mary Mallon. Why don't we go with that?
All right.
She laughs to herself a bit. Give me an intelligence and academics roll, difficulty 8.
Intelligence and academics. Difficulty 8.
Wait, do you have any dots in medicine, Isla?
I do.
Okay. In that case, make it difficulty 7.
Okay. But it's still intelligence and academics?
Still intelligence and academics, yes.
Okay. And that gave me 0 successes despite having quite a few dice.
No, it's fine. The name
I
rings
rolled
a
2
bell.
ones.
The name rings a bell to you, and you can definitely tell this is an assumed
Not her
name.
real name. Yeah.
Right. This is not her
Mhm.
real name. There's something significant about it, and probably a joke that you just might be missing. But you've had a rather traumatizing evening, and your brain might be a little scattered at the moment.
Okay. And where exactly are we going, Mary?
Let's take a walk south. I've got a vehicle. We'll go for a drive.
I'm afraid that I will need a little bit more information before I get in a car with a complete stranger. Things are a bit
sorry.
chaotic right now.
I work for the same person that Derek does, and I know you probably have questions.
Thank you. Derek was the name I needed to hear. I will come with you.
Okay.
And she smiles sweetly.
She'll walk about a block and a half south, and there's kind of a beat up neon just kind of parked off to one side. She unlocks it, opens the passenger door from the inside, turns the ignition.
Okay. Isla gets in with a feigned version of the sort of unquestioning trust that she always gets in Gabriel's car when she's actually being sincerely trusting.
Okay. And she drives down 40th Street, gets on I-5, and starts driving southward.
Isla just
So-
tries to keep a general, awareness of where she's going. And
Okay. As you're driving southward, you literally drive right past the Paramount Theater, still fully ablaze. Wild amounts of emergency personnel, fire and police presence, that sort of thing.
Isla
There's a
watches it
lot of
pass.
activity. Yep, right. There's a lot of activity going there. Mary sort of smirks. Busy night, yeah?
I'm glad not to be in there anymore.
I'm sure you are. So, what do you need to know?
Well, obviously, my major concern is where has Derek been for 3 years? I was very upset when he reportedly died and rather shocked to find out that he is still alive. But mostly I want to know what I can do to help him.
Well, as far as that goes, the changes that are coming, I'm sure you've seen or heard some of them already tonight. It's going to make things very unstable here in the near future. And if there is to be a transition, some of us feel that that has to be handled carefully, and that if influence and power becomes invested in other hands, we need to make sure they're the right hands.
All right. Perhaps you could give me a slightly clearer idea of the manner of the transition that took place tonight, because from my point of view, I was simply in a crowded room that was suddenly very much on fire, and then I fled that room out into the street, and that was when I ran into Derek, and he told me nothing of the larger picture. So all I know is that a building has been set on fire and that my dead sire is in fact alive. So any other information that you feel comfortable giving me that is relevant to the events of this evening would be greatly appreciated.
Well, you're an insightful girl, and I'm sure you can see that a disinterested ruler of a rather stagnant movement is probably no more attractive to the city than a violent zealot running at the head of a pack of rabid animals.
Well said.
So we need someone with a bit more capacity, someone with a bit more knowledge, and someone with a larger view who can lead us forward through these nights to a more stable state of being.
That sounds ideal. Do you have such a person in mind?
Yes. I can't, of course, delineate identities at this point,
Of
but
course,
I can take
until
you to
such
meet them.
time. That would be wonderful.
Excellent.
And then at such time as this person is firmly in power, then obviously it would be safe to divulge more information, I assume.
Oh, of course, yes. No, the transition of power may take a little bit of time, but once everything is suitably settled, everyone will know where the pieces on the board stand.
Well, I would very much like to see things settled, so please let me know how I can assist.
Give me a perception and streetwise difficulty 6.
Okay. I can never find the things on this list. Difficulty 6. 3 successes, strangely
Okay.
enough, on my 3 dice roll.
Very good. So you've been aware of the political situation. You've heard about the decrees that Lucia Enriquez made when she was Prince of Seattle. And so it's kind of odd to find yourself very obviously and without too much ceremony driving south completely out of the city. With the borders being closed, you know that this is not something that's allowed to happen. The female in the car with you is obviously also a vampire and obviously also well aware of what's been happening in the city. So she's not ignorant. She's not making a mistake of omission. She is
Okay.
quite obviously and brazenly flaunting a transgression that was put forward by
So
the
remind
prince of
me
the
again of
city.
the prince's last name one more time.
Enriquez.
Enriquez. Okay.
Mhm.
So I assume that Enriquez has already lost her grip on the city at this point.
If not yet, very soon. But we tend not to worry ourselves with paltry matters such as that. There's a larger picture at play here. What kind of
Well,
music do you like?
I don't even remember anymore.
And she'll just thumb over a cell phone that she has plugged into an aux cable and just start playing a bit of sort of neo-baroque. It's not a particular composer that you recognize. It's reminiscent of kind of a Handel Bach mix, but it's definitely something a little more recent than that.
Okay. Oh, this is lovely.
Yes, well, we've got about an hour, so she kind of glances out the window, which will be just about dawn. We've got lodging there, though.
It's probably safer if I don't give word to my other friends. I think it will be easier for me to explain a lack of communication later than for me to try to explain right now to them what's happening. I've been I was awakened from torpor X time ago. I don't know how long it's actually been.
It's been
As
like
a player,
2
I
weeks
don't.
tops.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I was awakened from torpor by a group of young vampires who, for lack of anywhere else to go, I have been settled with them, and they are under the assumption that I'm aligned with their goals and their purposes.
Oh, yes, well.
So I need to think carefully about how I'm going to address them at this point. They are, while young, they're not unskilled, and so I would prefer not to have them sniffing around and trying to disrupt whatever project that Derek has going on. Now that he's back, obviously,
Yes,
I have no further need of them.
Well, Derek is a sweetheart, but will be interesting. Are you going to attempt to shed your current regnant and resume the bond with your sire?
I would, yes. Yes, that is.
She kind of gives you a sidelong glance. You can tell she's definitely evaluating the truthfulness of that statement.
As I mentioned, I was awakened 2 weeks ago from torpor. I was awakened by a gentleman giving me his blood to drink. That was what woke me. So by the time I was fully conscious, I was already a third of the way bound to him, which obviously muddled my thinking somewhat. Derek explained to me early on that I'm, for whatever reason, very sensitive to those types of emotional attachments. So I'm aware that I do not think entirely clearly in regards to this man who awakened me, and I would prefer to have
It's
that
Gabriel.
remedied.
You can say his name. We know him.
All right. I would prefer to have that remedied as soon as possible. By the way, player note, Isla is lying through her teeth, so if I need to roll, if she gets away with it,
as you're talking to this, no, we'll just stick it with one roll. Give me a manipulation and subterfuge, difficulty 6.
Okay, can I spend willpower for at least one success here?
Yeah, you can definitely spend willpower for another success on that.
Just so you don't botch.
Yeah, that would be
This is
disaster.
definitely in your wheelhouse.
Okay, and actually, I don't know how to mechanically do that with roll 20. Anyway,
No,
Count-
you
just
just
count
tell
you have
me
a
and then
success.
okay, difficulty 6 or what was it?
Yes.
Okay. 5 successes, so it doesn't.
All right. Yeah.
Which
You
makes it
are
6 successes with
smooth
willpower.
as hell.
Do you have
There
a
is-
specialization in manipulation?
I do, and it was basically what I just did, but it doesn't matter anyway.
Well, because that would make that 10 2 successes.
Yeah, so 5 or 6 successes either way.
Yeah,
I nailed
Seven with your willpower.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. No,
No,
you're,
I totally nailed it.
The cadence and timbre of your voice does not fluctuate in the slightest. You are perfectly sincere as far as your demeanor and projection on this go.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she would have to be very keen-witted to have detected any sort of prevarication in there.
Okay. And I was careful to mention that she knows, she's self-aware enough to know that her thinking on Gabriel is cloudy, so that if she does seem to waver or be a little odd at any point, she'll have laid that down as an excuse.
Definitely.
She knows what she's doing.
So after about an hour or so, you find yourself, and you know, there's enough passing interstate signage and that sort of thing to tell you're a little ways south of Tacoma, and definitely well outside the domains of Seattle. Then Mary pulls off the interstate, and there is a small house. It's a little run down. It looks like it may have been recently abandoned. There's a fairly stout lock on the exterior door, kind of like a hasp closed over, to where it looks like it's basically been buttoned up pretty tight and is trying to avoid anybody entering. Well, it's getting a little bright on the east side, and that's uncomfortable for both of us. So we've got lodging here, and tomorrow evening, if you like, we can meet our patron.
That would be lovely. Thank you.
Excellent. She pulls a key out of her pocket, unlocks the house, and opens it up. The inside is a little stale. Doesn't seem to have been very well kept or circulated, but there are a few dingy cots laid out in various rooms. The windows are all shuttered and boarded up, so you're feeling fairly confident that you're not going to get any dangerous levels of errant sunlight leaking through during the daytime hours. And as you come in, she locks the door now from the inside behind her and lays a heavy bar across the doorway. I usually sleep in this room, but anything that's empty, feel free to choose.
Thank you. I appreciate your hospitality.
Hopefully we can do something a little more to our taste tomorrow.
Yes, I'm just glad to be out of that smoldering city.
Yeah. Field trip does everybody go to from time to time.
Yes.
All right. Have a lovely day.
Thank
she
you.
goes and lays down in another room, shutting a door behind her.
And Isla just settles in and gives every appearance of just being uncomplicatedly happy to be out of the city and on her way to hang out with Derek again.
Okay. You do notice that there is a text on your phone. Gabriel, what was the text that you sent to Isla last time?
Are you okay?
Right. So you've got that from Gabriel.
Okay. So, but I assume that she never replied, right?
He did not reply up until about this point, possibly.
Okay. So she just texts back, I'm fine, we'll talk later. And that's it.
Okay. So, time passes, and we are back north with Naomi's consciousness standing in a pool of sunlight in a parking garage, probably a good 50 feet below where her body is. So Naomi,
The awkward part of the slumber party is actually like having the other people sleeping in the room with you that you're not used to.
Well, you have your own room. They're all out in the main area.
Still.
So, having just broken into a well-lit and clearly sunlight-illuminated area, I am going to need you to roll for frenzy, because this is a shock and a bit of a surprise. So
What's that roll?
That will be a courage roll. Difficulty 8. Or you can spend a willpower point to maintain control, as long as you don't botch on this roll.
I'm gonna spend that willpower.
Okay.
But because it's been a stressful. Oh, that wrong difficulty, but that was still 4 successes. Or possibly 3. I just plugged in
It's
the
not showing up in mine, but okay.
Okay. Oh, wait. Never mind. That was Michelle.
Yeah, that was Michelle's roll. You haven't actually rolled yet.
I was wondering what was
The
going on.
Roll20 thing was in a weird tab, and it wasn't showing me the input thing, so I assumed it had rolled. That's botch. It's not a botch.
Not a botch. Not a botch.
It's
But
a
it's
zero.
-1 successes, and I have 1 success I spent willpower.
Okay. Yep. So you have basically a round to decide what you're going to do before you're going to have to make another roll.
Is there any place that's out of sunlight?
Surprisingly, no. Give me an intelligence and academics roll. Difficulty 7.
I was alive at one point. I probably know what sunlight areas looked like.
Oh, yeah.
Intelligence and academics?
Mhm.
Difficulty 8,
7.
you said?
7.
Okay. 1 success, and I'm assuming this isn't about sign language.
No, it's not. Yes, the light here is very, very strange. As you're looking around, you are standing in what appears to be sort of a pool of open sunlight that roughly corresponds to the window across the way. But where there should be kind of a sharper edge to where the shadow is, it's very diffused. And off to the sides where you should be if you moved out of direct sunlight, it is not nearly as dim as it should be if you were actually walking around outside during this time of day.
Are there any cars or doors that go inside, something like that?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything that seems like it would provide shelter from...
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Doors that go inside are the priority. Any
Okay.
of those or no?
Yes. There's the one that you expect to be, if you were standing in your garage, in your parking garage, there's the one off to the side there that would lead to the interior staircase and hallways.
Well, that's familiar, so I'm going towards that.
Okay. So you go out, you just take off at a run, trying to get out
Yeah.
as quickly as possible before things start to go very, very badly for you. And you reach out your hand to grab the doorknob. Your hand passes right through it, and you stumble
going.
almost into the interior. And as you look around, there are no stairs, there are no halls. It's just like you're inside a large empty box, more or less.
Empty box with sunlight or no sunlight?
Much less, but there's still this diffused sunlight, even though you're inside a completely enclosed container, more or less. Give me another courage roll. Difficulty's only 6 now.
3 successes.
Okay. So you're feeling you're feeling sheltered slightly now. You're definitely a little more protected, and despite there obviously being sunlight in this enclosed area, you're able to take an amount of time to look at yourself and realize it's not harming me. Give me a perception and occult, difficulty 6.
Okay.
Reducible as needed.
Is this sight?
Yes.
Naomi's choosing not to use her powers right now.
Okay.
So 2 successes.
All right. And you're starting to realize just how strange this place is. You look down at yourself and you don't see your body. You feel like you're almost a silhouette visually. There's a faint outline around the form of your hands and your arms, but your flesh is there's not that curvature where the light hits it to give you the impression of death. You're basically a black void with an outline. And it's definitely you, and you can still see in things, but you feel like something about this place that you found yourself in is strange.
So
And you also hear a bit of a whisper.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Roughly how tall does the box I'm in seem to be?
It's not quite as tall as your apartment building should be. It's roughly analogous, but the dimensions, and you especially as an architect would know, the dimensions are definitely off.
Then
Also, there's a lot of spider webs.
Naomi's impulse is to try and jump.
Okay.
Like just hop.
All right.
See if I float.
Give me an intelligence and athletics, difficulty 6.
That's the logical answer, right?
It's
Let's
a
see if I
perfectly
float.
legitimate
6
answer.
successes.
3 successes?
Yeah.
So you give yourself what you feel would be like an experimental hop, just to see, does gravity function differently? And you rocket straight upward out the top of the box about 30 or 40 feet into the air. And at the apex of your jump, you just stop. And you're floating. And as you look around, it's that same very diffused sunlight, almost just a tiny bit brighter than it was inside the box. But there's no sun in the sky. There's simply a huge crescent moon, far larger than it should be.
So, I don't know if I can roll for this. Does it seem like the sunlight here is moonlight, I guess, is going to hurt me?
Give me an intelligence and occult, difficulty 6.
3 successes.
Yeah, no, it seems nothing's harming you. It feels like sunlight, it looks like sunlight, but you're not in pain. There's no apparent damage to whatever your physiology is in this place. And as you sort of glance around at yourself, you see small fragments or specks of something kind of closer to the ground, kind of forming a little bit of a conflux, and so whatever these discorporated objects are seem to be trailing upwards toward you.
Do they look like geometric, or do they look like something specific?
They look vaguely geometric, but in a very MC Escher sort of way. They got a whispering, chittering sound that they're making as they come closer, and it's almost like a language you could sort of understand, but it's not. It's just on that cusp of awareness. You feel like there's something underlying here. There's a message or a conversation or communication happening that is close to intelligible. Not quite, but very close.
Continuing the theme of sort of experimentation, Naomi's just gonna try and make a sound. It's not necessarily a word, not necessarily speaking, but it's not something she exactly can do in the IRLs.
Right. So she's just trying to vocalize.
Yes. Give
me a wits and expression, difficulty 6.
It's gonna be hilarious if I watch this. 2 successes.
So yeah, you open your mouth and just this one crystal clear single tone note emerges. It's not a word. It's not a speech. It's a noise, though. Doesn't feel like it goes quite as far as
Mhm.
it would if you had heard somebody else making the same sound out in the real world. But it's crystalline in its clarity.
And it matches sort of what I was trying to produce.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. She's just gonna try and see if, beyond floating, if she can, like, push off to move herself now that she's not on ground.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to navigate. I'm pressing all of the buttons.
Yeah. So as you sort of make that impulse to sort of try and move yourself in a direction, and you're still feeling that tug towards what you would assume is the south.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about moving, and that same sort of hyper increased velocity just matches. And you lunge with just a faint effort, you lunge about 8 or 9 blocks southward to the very edge of the Fremont Cut, that bit of water that crosses just south of your guys' domain. Give me a perception and awareness, difficulty 6.
Is this visual?
Yes. And you
Okay.
can reduce it as you need.
Once again, okay, so that's 4 10s. So are those, is this tactical?
Not so much.
Okay.
But with 3
Damn it, the
successes.
10s are wasted. Yeah, 3 successes.
Yeah, no, with 3 successes, and given your familiarity with the local area, especially around your domain, you're starting to realize, yeah, the buildings are all wrong. They're much simpler in structure, far more diminished. They're more like a representation of an urban location rather than an actual urban location. And the water itself is far broader, and it's much choppier. And as you're sort of trying to get a level of perception around yourself and your surroundings, you see this vast shape just cruise by below the surface of the water, fish-like, but enormously larger than any native species should be. You'd probably
Does
call it a
look
salmon.
like a puppeteering hand?
No, not at all. You'd probably call it a salmon if salmon were 40 feet long and had savage, bony serrations along all of their fins.
Salmon are fine.
And you can catch the faintest glimpse of an eye that sort of looks up at you before the thing turns and dives deeper into the water with a very swift motion. And the rapidity with which it vanishes makes you realize that water is far deeper than it is in real life.
Okay.
But it definitely saw you.
Where roughly is the tug in relation to me now?
Still pulling you southward.
Okay.
It feels a little remote.
I know it's not quite analogous, but I'm going to try and... I've run over this case so many times, I'm going to try and visualize where in the city each of those murder sites are.
Okay.
No correspondence. Can I make a roll for that?
It feels.
Even?
Yeah. Give me a wits and streetwise difficulty 7.
Okay. Zero successes, but not a botch.
Okay. Yeah, you're having a hard time pinpointing those locations because you've seen those locations, you've plotted them on maps, but you're starting to realize that your maps do not correspond to this area. This is definitely Seattle. You can tell it's definitely Seattle. I mean, the Space Needle is literally right there. Now, the Space Needle is a quarter mile tall and far larger and more imposing than it ever was in real life, but that's the fucking Space Needle. And the spider webs coming off of that thing are huge and very regular and with strict arithmetic patterns to them. They almost look like support cables, as if they were incorporated in the structure to make sure that the Space Needle stays exactly where it's supposed to be and doesn't even flex in the wind. And that tug is pulling you southward. You've actually sort of, in the meantime, reflexively just accidentally drifted across the cut. You're on the southern bank. But it's still a ways out there.
It didn't turn into fire when I crossed it?
No, it did not.
Okay.
It's this roiling, rapid, choppy surf.
Naomi's going to try and, as much as she can with her understanding of how she moves here, stay where she is, but use all of the vision capabilities she has, all of her aspect stats, for lack of a better word,
Okay.
to see where it's trying to lead her.
All right. Give me a perception and awareness. Difficulty 8, reduced as needed.
What's 8 minus 7? Oh. She's just going to ask what 8 minus 7 was.
That would be 1.
Thank you, John.
Yes, I'm actually not quite that bad at math.
It's my job as executive producer to help out with hard math problems like that. So it's not a problem. You don't have to thank me.
6 successes, 7 if this is tactics.
Okay. With 6 successes, you kind of focus your vision, and it's not quite like zooming in with a pair of binoculars, but it feels that way almost in your mind. And you look southward. The city feels much smaller in terms of area, square mileage, than it should be. And you do not remember these rugged, lush woodlands and savage, vile terrain being nearly as extreme as they were. I mean, you haven't been out of the city in a little while, but this is borderline primal. And the vegetation boundary is sharp. You've got city, and then all of a sudden you've got wilderness with hardly any adjustment. And those mountains are tall, taller than they should be. In fact, south of Seattle, there's not supposed to be mountains. The mountains are to the west and to the east and across the sound. And you can feel there's a nexus, some sort of energy or event that's there towards the south that's drawing at those faint threads of sanity that keep holding your psyche in one place still. And it's beyond that wilderness. It's deep in those woods to the south somewhere.
I don't know if this is even possible, but could I make an empathy check to try and figure out if this is a aspect of this place or something calling me specifically?
Okay. Yeah, no, that would totally work. Give me a wits and empathy difficulty 7.
3 successes.
Okay. Yeah, no, you feel like there is a personal connection here.
Okay.
And as you were thinking about where those places in the city were that those events had happened, it feels like it might be similar in a way. It's almost like you were trying to pick out certain notes in a song when you were trying to think of those other locations in the local area. But the notes that are pulling you southward were far too loud and they simply drowned it all out. But it's still the same song.
Okay. I'm tempted to go check on Gabriel and make sure he's not burning the apartment down, but I don't think I can do that.
You can do whatever you want to try.
Alright. Actually, Naomi's gonna see if she can look towards where Elysium would have been when it got
Okay. Are you looking or moving?
looking. Again, it's
Right.
trying to
There's-
stay where she is as much as possible.
Okay. Yeah. No. As you look that way, give me a perception and awareness difficulty 6, reduced as needed.
Okay, so I haven't actually asked this, but I probably should given how many dots I have. Is the difficulty 0 a thing, or does it bottom at 1?
It bottoms at 1.
Okay. 6 successes.
Okay. Yeah. As you look down there, Paramount Theater is actually a little more defined than most of the other buildings in the area are. It's still intact. Still looks more or less. There's a lot of activity down there, though. It's hard to pick out the exact nature, but there's something moving. And as you're looking around, yeah, there are things that live here. There are movements, and despite these large spider webs that sort of coat most of the larger, more identifiable landmarks, there's things moving in and out of them.
All right. At this point, I'm going to try and, if I can do it slowly, try and start moving towards the direction I'm supposed to go, but not leave the city boundary yet.
Okay.
And while she's doing that, she's scanning around for puppeteering hands or any other symbology that would be similar.
Okay. So as you move southward, it takes you about 15 seconds to hit the southern end of the city. You move with extraordinary speed in whatever dimension this is. And as you look around, most of the things here look very either anachronistic or aberrant. There are beings or entities moving up and down the streets, but some of them seem to be cobbled together from bits of debris. Some of them seem to be more impressionistic sculptures of concepts that you can't quite name. It's a very, very strange and odd environment that you've found yourself in. But no extraordinarily large hands.
All right. And as I'm sort of at this border here, is there anything that feels, tastes, sounds Malkavian?
Not at the border, no, except for those little things that have been trailing in your wake. Their whispering has gotten a little more pronounced, a little more explicit, and it sounds. It puts you in mind of the individuals that you'll sometimes see along the street. People definitely suffering from some level of derangement. Sometimes homeless, sometimes not. Sometimes it's simply a matter of whatever chemical substances they've injected or ingested. You know, whispering to themselves, having a conversation that you might only be able to hear one side of, but they can definitely hear multiple individuals involved. And the language isn't quite familiar, but something about them definitely feels harmonious with that sort of low-level insanity that kind of runs through your brain all the time. Sometimes at greater severity than others.
Does it feel like it's mine personally, or more just a similar tenor?
More similar, more general, more abstract.
Naomi isn't going to speak, but she's going to sign at the little geometric-y things. Will you follow me out there?
No response.
That's what I thought. Just because she really wants to, she's going to try and do a loop-de-loop.
Okay. You go to try and do sort of like a reverse somersault, kind of, sort of World War II flying ace kind of maneuver. It's a lot larger and broader because you still haven't quite got the low velocity maneuvering down yet. You kind of move fast even when you're not trying to. But yeah, you definitely pull probably a good, 300 foot tall over under. Yeah. And land probably about 50 feet lower than you were. Still probably a good 100 feet off the ground.
Given what I know of Gabriel, is 100 feet off the ground out of fireball range?
Probably. Given what you know of Gabriel.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
it is definitely out of fireball range.
You only have so many dice with which to roll successes, mister.
It is definitely out of fireball range.
Yeah. All right, given that sort of thought and reassurance to herself, she's just gonna go where she's looking for. Once again, trying to keep an eye out. There's a border, so she wants to know what's different over here. Do we still see spider webs?
There are far fewer spider webs. There's actually a little bit of a gradient to those. The city isn't choked with them, but is definitely heavily blanketed. And they do bleed into the forest a little bit, but fairly quickly die out once you cross that vegetation boundary. And as you travel south, the territory just kind of streams past you at an insanely rapid rate as you're plunging southward, following whatever this impulse is. There's another cluster, small cluster, of urban center to the south that, in your mind, would probably be about where Tacoma is.
Mm.
But from Seattle down to Tacoma in the physical world is pretty much all urban the entire way. There shouldn't be this kind of mountainous wilderness. And Tacoma is a lot larger. It's not like a pocket-like sort of very small townish size. But you burn past Tacoma and you go just about a couple seconds further south. And you're hovering in the air, probably about 75 feet above a vaguely gothic, somewhat sprawling structure. Multiple wings, 3, 4, maybe 5 stories tall, looming windows that look like gaping mouths almost. Heavily barred. You left most of your little fractal friends behind you in this journey south, and it only took you about 2 or 3 minutes to get here. But as you begin to search around, the same sort of energy whispering that you were hearing from them, it's a lower pitch and it's a little more resonant, but you're hearing it from this building beneath you as well.
Does it feel like it might have been the other side of what those little things were responding to?
Give me wits and occult difficulty 8.
Two.
As you were thinking about the similarities, best you can tell, your little fractal friends were responding to you specifically.
Okay.
And this thing seems to be in the same family, but a little larger in scale. And as you're looking at this building, you see something slightly overgrown in ivy down closer to the ground floor level. Small structure, maybe a fallen wall, maybe a sign of some sort.
So, trying to think, understanding that this terrain is weird, can I think of where this might be?
If there is a geographical reflection here, something south of Tacoma.
Okay.
Give me an intelligence and streetwise difficulty 8.
Zero successes, but not a botch.
Okay. Yeah, you know a few town names down this way. Parkland, Puyallup, Lakewood, a couple different ones. This one doesn't seem to be particularly located in any one of those that you would know of.
No, like, big national park or landmark or something.
Now, as far as like big national stuff goes, I mean, you've got Mount Rainier and you've got Olympic, but those are definitely further out. And those are east and west, not south.
Okay. She's gonna see if she can figure out what's under that ivy.
Okay. Give me a perception and investigation. Difficulty 6 reduced as needed.
Five successes.
Okay. So you come down and yes, it's a slightly broken brick structure, it seems. Heavily overgrown by ivy. It's one of those sort of large signs that would sit near the entrance of a lane that leads up to a location. And it says Western Hospital on it.
Was that the hospital that we were talking about back in the city with all the blood?
You guys were mostly talking about Kindred Hospital back in the city.
And University Hospital.
And University Hospital, yes.
I have eidetic memory. I should know this.
Yeah. Also, give me a dexterity and stealth difficulty 6, just to see how maybe reflexively subtle you were on your investigation.
Okay. Three successes. And if this is precise, then 4.
Yes, it is not necessarily precise because you were mostly just coming down here to have a look-see. So as you see these words sort of half obscured by the vegetation, all of a sudden that low rumbling whisper from the interior of the building rises to a fever pitch and something bursts out of the top 3 windows.
Pushing back.
Say what?
I said I'm moving back.
Okay. And as you go to rush backward, it moves with astonishing velocity towards you. Something that looks like a large hand, not the same hand that you saw in your dream. It's got far more fingers to it, and they seem to be tipped with needle syringes, and a few of them almost spark with an electricity. And there's this howling shriek of just wild madness that rushes in its wake. The fractals that you saw smaller definitely make up the larger part of whatever this thing's physiology is as it swipes out at you wildly with a howl. Give me a wits and
Occult?
Wits and survival. Okay. Difficulty 6.
I think I have a dot in that, so 5 successes.
All right. You see it striking out at you, and not so much toward you as towards this faint translucent thread that trails from your sort of outlined silhouetted form, fades to bright silver, and extends north back the way you came.
That thread's been with me the entire time, right?
This is the first time you've noticed it.
Okay.
But as it strikes out at it, you've got this sudden insight of if it hits that would probably be a very bad thing. And you reflexively reach out and just grab onto it, trying to whip it out of the reach of whatever this mad threatening figure's attack is, and as both your hands close around it, suddenly your eyes snap open. We are coming back north to Seattle. Gabriel, you've been awake for about an hour. Everybody will need to spend a blood point to regain consciousness on this day. Yes, that includes you.
I am very hungry.
Okay. Well, you've got about an hour before you can get out. You do have a couple texts from Serenity, mostly along the lines of, here's what I've been doing. Where the fuck are you?
Over the course of the hour, I will call Serenity and explain to her the events of the night previous.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so keep doing what you've been doing. I'm going to stay away from the warehouse for a bit, just so that if any of this decides to wash back over, you're not caught in the crossfire.
Sure. Yeah, we're still looking at getting the things moved over to the new location.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Plenty to keep me busy then, and I will keep my head down. Let me know if you need me in Louisville.
I will. How is everything going on that end, by the way?
Finances are turning out fairly well, I think. Best I can tell, I've spoken with the lawyers, and things are going to get shifted over pretty quickly. We were able to put in an offer, and we're feeling pretty good on the new premises.
Good.
Yeah, and of course, owners of the shop location should be in the next day or so, and hopefully we'll get everything signed and moved over.
On this end, it feels like everything is coming to a head soon, so...
Okay.
In the next few days, the city will have calmed down. Or be on fire, one of the two.
You would be happy with either, I know.
Well, I'm a man of simple means and tastes.
Okay, well, I'll leave my ringer on.
Yes. I'll call you if I need you.
Okay.
All right, keep your head down. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Bye.
Click. Any other messages on my phone?
No, not currently.
Okay. Yeah, then he'll just sort of wait for the sun to go down.
Okay. So right about now, everybody else is conscious. Most of you inside the bounds of the city. Isla, you're waking up in a random house that you've never really visited much before. Somewhere
and I'm pretty hungry,
south.
apparently, at this point.
Possibly.
I've got 3 blood points, so...
Yes, you're starving.
I have 6 of 10. I'm pretty hungry.
Yep. So, what's everybody planning on doing?
I have 3 of 13. I'm starving.
You are ravenous, sir.
I'm going to get food first thing.
Okay. How's everybody else doing on blood?
I'm at 6 of 10. I'm hungry, but I'm not starving.
Okay. Mara?
6 of 10. 6 of 10.
All right. Thelma is a little hungry. And where's Naomi at?
Naomi is... She's watching Gabriel and Lysander very carefully until they leave her goddamn house. I don't care that it's also his house.
Okay. All right. So, Gabriel, you're leaving to go get food.
Yep.
Yes?
Yep.
All right. So, Gabriel leaves. Lysander's going to do the same, actually, because he's looking a little vacant in the blood area himself. So, yeah, within about 20 minutes or so of Lysander waking up, he is out the door also.
Right.
So the 2 problem children are out of your house, Naomi.
Remind me who else was staying over at my place?
Everyone.
Everybody but Isla.
Everyone. I'm still in the closet.
We got
Yes.
back late.
I slowly open it up and peek my head out. Nothing's on fire. Everything's good. No
Nothing's
one's.
on fire.
Yeah.
That's true.
Exactly. Just like that. Just to my.
Perfect
No.
Bella Lugosi impression. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I slow open up and make sure that nothing's out there. The cat is not sitting outside my door or anything.
No. Casper seems to be elsewhere.
All right. Cool. Then I close the door and then it waits 15 minutes and then I come out.
Okay. Is that your morning routine?
Yes.
I'm gonna try and do some work because I was drumming up commissions. I should probably do those.
Okay. Sounds good. What's Alexander up to?
And also, I'm looking to see what the other people in the house are doing.
That's a good question, actually. It had a plan last week, and I've forgotten it. Since then.
I will before leaving. I will indicate that we still need to discuss our next steps, but first food, and then just so everyone knows that is the thing we need to do.
Oh, have I gotten any messages from my sister on where she's ended up?
There will be a text flying east, is all that it says.
All right. So that's a good starting point.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I should go out and eat too, is what I'll tell people. And then I want to head to whatever the my clan's like area.
So
I think I should check in with them.
Right. Yeah. The clans do not have domains in Seattle. Domains are given on an individual or a coterie basis. So it's one of those mechanisms that the upper class uses to keep control of the lower class. Because if you can't freely feed, then you have to owe people favors when they give you food.
Yep. Do my people then have any sort of area?
You guys have some areas, yes. You'll frequently encounter around Green Lake, which is one of the larger bodies of water in northern Seattle. You can usually find people skulking around that area if you're looking to swap info and that sort of thing.
Okay. I'd probably check in with my sire then if we're close. I'll just say hey.
Okay.
And see if there's any like easy meals wandering around.
All right. Go ahead and give me a manipulation and influence roll, difficulty 6.
All right.
Just to make sure that I don't end up low on blood when I really need it, I should probably go and see if a member of my herd is available.
Where's influence?
Okay. Influence is just do other 1 and then add a single die to your dice pool. Influence is one of your backgrounds.
I'm confused.
So in the dice pools at the bottom of the character sheet.
Oh, gotcha.
Select one of select. Make sure the first one's blank. Have the second one be other 1. Hit the dice button, and then in pool mod, put 1, and then difficulties whatever.
Right.
Other
well,
one. Okay.
It's manipulation.
Manipulation and other one. Got it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. And then pool mod is 1. All right. There we go. And what difficulty is it?
6.
Okay.
Naomi will also text probably Gabriel and Lysander. Given how interesting last night was, do be careful that no one's poaching on our land.
I text back. I will ensure they are not.
Don't fuck with the Tremere, the mob boss, and the omnipotent. Or omniscient.
We're all kind of on final threads right now.
Everybody's on their last nerve.
I pity anybody who decided that tonight was the night. You know what? Let's go try to take some of their territory. It will not end well.
All right. So, Velma, as she gets into touch with Edward, who is lurking around somewhere in the area this evening, Edward says he's got a line on a couple homeless guys, and he thinks he can. He doesn't mind sharing. Which you guys kind of creep around the park a little bit, and give me a dexterity and stealth difficulty 6.
Okay.
So while we're waiting, because I'm using a mixer right now instead of my normal mic, I can just do fantastic.
All right. So 1 success for Velma. So you managed to stay fairly quiet. Your clothes get caught on some undergrowth a bit, and you do make a little more noise than you would have preferably. But you're managing to keep a fairly low profile. And pretty soon you catch a whiff of some level of cheap alcohol. And there is a pair of definitely not the most healthy physically individuals, kind of half wrapped under some scrappy blankets, a little bit of cardboard and newspaper. And apparently Edward's line on the homeless guys definitely panned out. They seem to be asleep from this distance.
Okay. Seem to be asleep. We should do this fast.
Okay.
So...
Give me a dexterity and brawl, difficulty 6.
All right. Dexterity and brawl.
And I will roll for Edward.
6 successes.
All right. So with just blinding ferocity, you just pounce on one of these guys, half rip the jacket off, and teeth are in the skin. You can take up to 3 points of blood on a single drink per round. How many are you planning on taking?
Just 1. I'm not that hungry.
1 for starters? Okay. All right. Yeah, you can usually take 5 off of a healthy human being before things get medically dangerous. These guys definitely aren't. These guys definitely aren't at peak, so you probably couldn't take 5 off of these guys without hurting them pretty bad or possibly killing them. But you can take at least a couple, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, Edward is only just a brief second slower than you are, and he's chowing down.
All right, so 3.
All right, so you're gonna take 3. So you just start immediately swallowing as much as you can manage from the flow. That warm liquid coats the inside of your mouth and begins to pour down your throat, and you get this flash of just icy hot anger, this rage. Not your own rage. You yourself are not angry, but this is an individual who apparently is very, very keenly attuned to this specific emotion most of the time. And it makes your eyes almost flare open slightly as you're swallowing this. After three large gulps, though, you pull your mouth back. There's still kind of a ragged cut, because you don't have a nice pair of fangs.
No.
You've got a railroad track maw, and you definitely if you just leave this guy's gonna get scarred up pretty badly.
Well, I guess we should heal that. You should really, and I'm just talking to him now. I don't know if he can hear me, but I'm just talking to him. You should really you should talk through this to some people, because that's not a thing that is good to have in your heart at all points in time. Just really, rethink your life choices maybe a little bit.
Just talking while licking the wound closed.
Yep. Yeah.
Definitely needs to rethink some life choices for sure.
Yep.
You notice Edward kind of giving this sort of like half grin while drinking as he's hearing you, sort of give this lovely grandmotherly sensitive advice to this man
Yeah.
whose
Yeah.
blood you've just consumed.
I'm just a floating head. There we go. Is that better? There we go. No, I was gonna milk the floating head routine. I thought that would be better.
How
but
better
yeah,
to
but you
learn
can
about someone's
you can
emotional
add
problem.
3 more blood points to your blood pool, Mara.
Okay.
2 Thelmas, I should say. And yeah, you've had some dinner.
All right.
As take it. Isla,
Mm-hmm.
your eyes open in a cold, fairly isolated room, and laying on this weather-beaten, probably reclaimed from an army surplus store cot in an unfamiliar building. What's your plan?
To look around for other vampires who are up and about,
Okay.
if any.
As you sort of take a little bit of a walk around this small house, you seem to be the only one here. You do notice a couple units of blood sitting on a counter with a Post-it note on it, however.
Oh, how thoughtful. What does a Post-it note say?
Back in 2 hours, MM.
Okay, so she just chows down.
Okay.
And
Give me a perception and investigation difficulty 4.
It's a juice box.
Pretty much.
It's another vampire's blood. No!
for 2 successes.
Okay. So you get a point of blood from each of the 2 blood bags. And you notice that they are labeled Western State Hospital.
Okay. She makes a mental note. Western State Hospital. But only a mental note. She's so paranoid she's not even willing to text anything potentially incriminating at this point. She is 100% deep cover.
Right.
Isla, the deep cover.
Deep cover with my abusive boyfriend.
Mhm.
Ex-boyfriend. The current boyfriend's also abusive. That's not the point.
You have to specify, really.
Which of Isla's abusive
I am
boyfriends are we
far
talking
less
about?
abusive, though, because
You don't know that.
Masochist, it says so
Threatening
right on
to
my
light
character
people on
sheet.
fire is a form of emotional abuse in vampires.
Definitely. All right. So Gabriel and Alexander, where are you guys hunting?
I'm hunting in our domain.
Okay.
I was going to find see if I can find 1 or 2 of my herd.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a... Yeah. Alexander, give me a manipulation and leadership. Difficulty 6.
I have that.
And you can add your herd dice as a pool mod.
So first thing I want to do is sort of gauge the field
3
of city
successes.
right now.
Okay. So yeah, William, Alexander is able to find enough to probably refill, actually, with 3 successes on a herd roll.
I only need 2 of them.
Okay.
Because I just need to take two points of blood from 2 people to not hurt either of them a lot.
Yep. Yeah, and you're not low enough that you're going to be risking much in the way of frenzy rolls or anything like that.
Yeah.
Gabriel, on the other hand.
And afterwards, I buy them something that they want because I always make sure to repay people for offering me blood.
Go ahead and roll resources difficulty 6.
All right. Resources 2 dots.
Oh, hopefully, if all goes marginally well, then it won't matter if I frenzy.
1 success.
Yeah. So you're able to give a what both parties would probably consider equivalent exchange.
It's sort of like donating blood for a blood drive, only you get something out of it.
It's quid pro quo.
The first rule of alchemy is equivalent exchange.
No, we are not playing FMA.
I have a little girl and a dog. Anyways.
Fuck right off.
Oh, Nietzsche.
All
All
right, so Gabriel, you're going hunting.
I want to first. I want to get sort of what the feel of the city, specifically the domain, is like right now, because there was an explosion that's probably being called a terrorist attack. I'm wondering if that has incited some riot-like activities in the area nearby.
Okay, give me a wits and streetwise difficulty 6.
Streetwise. Do I get a domain mod for this?
Yes.
With all those dice, I get 1 success. I rolled 10 dice. Got 1 success.
And you got 1 success. That's amazing. So yeah, you do your
You've
drift
got my
and listen.
dice.
Yeah. You do your drift and listen. There's definitely talk about it.
Mhm.
And everything seems to still be in the rumor and hearsay stage. Terrorist definitely gets thrown around, at least a little bit. Most things that you're able to pick up of a slightly more official basis, like listening to a radio or looking at a headline. Obviously, investigation is still ongoing. Law enforcement has not released any details to the public, yada yada. But there is a lot of speculation. More of it seems to be on the crime, gang violence sort of side than terrorism. And you're guessing that's probably because the use, it's probably being sort of put out as there was an unexplained fire at the Paramount, not somebody shot an RPG through the front window at the Paramount. Kind of details.
All right. So with that knowledge,
but
then,
people are definitely on edge.
Yeah, I want to see first. I want to sort of canvass our domain and see if there's any evidence of people trying to encroach on our territory.
Give me a perception and awareness. Difficulty 7.
Do domain dice apply?
Yes, definitely.
And does Auspex apply?
Yes, reduced as needed.
Four successes.
So as you're walking around, sort of letting that kind of innate predatory nature of the beast kind of creep to the front of your brain rather than keeping it shifted to the back where you usually cage that sucker up. There's not really a clear indication of any particular encroachment. You get a feeling that, in a sense, you can kind of imply that things may get a little sketchy. You wouldn't be surprised if there were eyes, at least, on the domain. But it's more the feeling of being clearly watched and evaluated rather than actually invaded at the time. Territories with vampires in Seattle tend to be a little more on the defensive, and your basic knowledge of Camarilla politics, at least, says that they will probably be consolidating and trying to make sure that they've secured what they actually have.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's going to come for your domain, it's probably going to be either Sabat or Camarilla, who believe that you guys might be vulnerable.
Okay.
Naomi was mostly worried about individuals without a domain being like, fuck, I'm really hungry.
Yeah. Is there a way... Because this was a massive strike at the Camarilla, so politically there will be people seeking to take advantage of that within the Camarilla. Mm-hmm. Is there a particular method I can think of to sort of do that territory establishment that, no, we are still here. Yeah, that kind of thing. We are still here. This is still our territory, and we will kill you. Like,
give me a wits and streetwise difficulty 7.
Full multiply or no?
No, not for this one. Okay.
2 successes.
So there's a number of ways you can do it. Generally, either physically or informationally. You can sort of feed information into the grapevine and hope that it reaches the right people at the right time of this is our turf, this is what we claim, stay the fuck out.
Mhm.
And the rumor mill is fairly effective with that. You'd probably want to talk to your Nosferatu friends if you really wanted to get that out there. A number of kindred will use sort of the vampire version of hobo language or graffiti street art to do that as well, especially around the boundaries, so that when people come into the domain or they're starting to cross over, they've got a physical reinforcement as well as that sort of vague standard vampiric sense of going into somebody else's territory.
Mhm.
And you could either do it in a manner that's visible as some level of message. Being yourself, you could just scorch some bricks in strategic locations.
That's actually what I was thinking.
Right, yeah. There's
Like
any number of ways you could
like
do
a
it if you want to
scorched
do it.
hand, like a scorched handprint. Seems like a very clear sign. That's not
could be.
not so obvious that people would say, somebody lit their hand on fire and touched the bricks.
Right. Mhm.
Street art. I wonder who could do that.
Yeah.
And the people,
Guess we'll never know.
that might be a very effective maneuver to do it, because it's one of those things that most humans will look at and be like, oh, that's kind of cool and weird, but people who know what people like you can do will definitely know what it actually is.
Yeah. Well, first I need to feed then. So I'm looking for, since there's nobody currently, at least that I can see, encroaching on the territory, I'm looking to do some stress relief. So I'm looking for anybody that it looks like they're trying to start trouble. I'm going to give them trouble to start.
Okay.
So I want to, I want to look like that. Use my looks, my current sense of dress and style to my advantage. And
Okay.
look like a rich dude wandering around where he shouldn't be wandering around into a darker alley that might make him more vulnerable.
You are trying to incite a mugging.
I'm trying to incite a mugging, yes.
Okay. All right. Give me a manipulation and expression. Difficulty 8.
Pull mod apply for domain?
Yes. And pull mod for domain applies, because that'll come into selecting your location, etc.
1 success.
Okay. So it takes you a little while to find, because honestly, you guys, your domain is a little more of an upscale area. There's a little less crime here than you'd find in several other locations around the city. So you start thinking about where the most likely occasions for this would be. So you start heading southward, kind of into that area that's kind of outside your domain, but you guys have been putting your footprints on enough that it's starting to incorporate.
Yeah.
And
anything that would encourage the spread of our domain and like sort of be that alpha dog move would be in his mind as well. So
okay.
So 2 birds, 1 stone thing.
Right. So you cruise southward along the sidewalk, and a couple of individuals are sort of loitering near an alley corner, and you walk past and you sort of do that, pull out the phone with that kind of demeanor of shit, I'm lost, and then see the alley and and go down it as if, oh, maybe there's a shortcut down here, I can get back to where I'm going, while projecting that atmosphere of being a little bit oblivious to your surroundings, while still much better dressed than most other people in this block of the neighborhood.
Yep.
And you get maybe 10 yards down, and you think you hear at least one, if not several pairs of feet behind you.
Okay. Did I manage to pick an alleyway that dead-ended?
High or low?
Low.
No. This one does have an exit at the far end.
Okay, so I want to sort of make for the exit, maybe a little bit faster than I thought. Just slightly faster than I was walking previously.
Okay.
To sort of encourage the chase.
Give me manipulation and athletics. Difficulty 7. Domain dice apply.
Whoop, hang on, sorry, I misdid that. 4 successes. If this qualifies as misdirection, I don't know.
Not quite.
Okay.
You're not trying to divert their attention. You're trying to attract their attention.
That's right.
But they definitely pick up that sort of, if you don't want something to chase you, don't run
Yeah.
thing definitely kicks in. And within about 3 or 4 strides, suddenly you feel a heavy blow on the back of your head.
Okay.
And let me see how they did.
Bashing damage. That's something.
Yep.
something.
Oh
Bashing
no!
damage. How cool.
Bashing damage. All right. Wow. Actually, not too bad. All right. So you suffer 1 point of bludgeoning damage, 1 point of bashing damage after the reduction and the halving and everything like that. So feel free to soak that up. Stamina difficulty 6.
I don't soak it.
Okay. So
I
you
am-
take 1 level.
I am slightly bruised.
Slightly bruised.
For the next
Now it's-
5 minutes?
So I wanna just let that blow carry me down to the ground, and
Okay.
while I'm falling, I want to see if there's like a loose brick or something particularly hefty nearby.
Give me a perception and alertness difficulty 6.
Does domain dice apply?
Yep, not for this one.
Okay. 0 successes, but not a botch.
Yeah, you don't see anything within arm's reach.
Okay, that's fine. Do I?
Right.
Is there
So
anything
you
like,
hit the ground,
yeah, hit the ground. Do the whole.
and it's your turn.
So first, I want to do the whole "oh no, I'm a scared rich guy" bit,
Okay.
and like hit the ground, turn around, panicked look on face, scoot back towards wall. I want to make sure
Okay.
I get my back against an alleyway wall,
All right. Yep, you can do that easily enough.
Yep. and just let them.
And there's like 2 guys advancing on you right now. One of them has like a chunk of that really heavy PVC pipe.
Yeah.
Probably
large.
about 18 inches long.
All right. So yeah.
The other one's got something in his hand. It doesn't look like a gun, but it looks like something a little more lethal
Okay.
than PVC pipe.
I want to do the arms up defensive thing to really draw them in close.
Okay. Give me manipulation and expression difficulty 5. Domain dice do not apply.
Four successes.
Oh, they are right on top of you.
Oh yeah. And once they're like within easy grabbing range,
Mm-hmm.
I want to basically reach up, grab them both by the throat, and slam them into the wall behind me.
All right, so that'll be 2 separate attacks, so you will have to split your dice pool.
All right.
It's
Yeah.
going to be, so you've got 2 dex and brawl maneuvers, difficulty 6 for each.
So I've got 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 dice, so 3 each.
Right. So you can do 3 and 3 if you want. Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to do 3 and 3. I'm going to spend a willpower for an auto success on both. Do I need to spend-
No,
I need
you
to
can only
2?
spend on 1.
Okay, so I'll spend a willpower for an auto success on one of them.
Okay.
So I'll go other one here. What's the difficulty going to be?
6.
And do domain dice apply?
Nope, not for this one.
Okay. 3, difficulty 6. 2 successes on the first one.
Okay, so that's a hit with 1 rollover.
And 3 successes on the second one
Okay.
with an auto success.
So you spent the auto success for the first one, right?
Yep. So
Okay.
3
So
successes on both.
they both hit with 2 rollover on each of those. So at that point, you will need to roll, I think, strength. Just strength plus however many rollover dice you did.
I forget.
Difficulty
If you're spending blood to pump a stat up, do you do it whenever, or is there a specific time you have to do that?
You do that at the beginning of the turn.
Okay, so all right, so strength plus 2 on both of them.
Yes. Difficulty 6.
And domain dice does not apply to this because it's just
because it's just combat. Yep.
so first one, 3 successes.
Okay. We will see if these guys can soak shit.
Second one, 4 successes.
Awesome. Gabriel being badass. Where's Isla when you need her to watch?
Slam.
All right. So they each soak 1. So the first guy takes 2, which bumps him down into hurt. Second guy takes 3, which bumps him down into injured. So they're both at -1.
All right.
And they are definitely surprised.
I hope I've got them angry.
Oh, yes. No, you definitely have them both surprised and angry. And they are going to lash out. One of them with basically the equivalent of a club. The other one with his brass knuckles that he has on one hand. Okay. First guy lashes out at you, hits with 2 rollover. Second guy lashes out at you, also hits with 2 rollover. This is both bashing damage for each. So 2 rollover is going to be 5 dice. If you take 2 bashing, which will just be 1. So go ahead and roll 1. Go ahead and roll soak for the first hit.
1 success.
All right, you soak that. The other one is 3 successes, so that's 2 once it's halved. And go ahead and roll soak for that.
I'm going to spend a willpower for an auto success. If I can.
Okay, I think so.
2 successes.
Okay, so yep, you soak them both easily, and you've still got them by sort of the shirt front.
Yep, and I basically just want to like sort of let go, grab the PVC pipe.
Okay.
And try to use it to smack whichever the one with the brass knuckles.
All right then.
Like just try to rip it out of his grasp and use it to club the other guy.
Okay, let me see. We're going to say that's a disarm. So that'll be dexterity and melee. No, dexterity and brawl.
Okay.
Difficulty 8.
Do I get my domain dice?
No.
Okay.
Not for combat.
Dexterity, brawl, difficulty 8. I've got a good amount of dice to roll there. I'll just let it fly and let's see what happens.
Okay.
0 successes, not a botch.
All right. So yeah, you grab it, but he's got a good grip on it still.
Okay.
And you're not able to actually maneuver it.
Okay.
They are going to go for another pair of smacks at you.
I said you're still holding his weapon, so
I am, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's at a slighter higher difficulty. Yeah,
and they're both
so the
rolling
brass knuckles guy
so.
cold cocks you from one side. The guy with the PVC can't get it around to actually make any impact on you. He's got 2 rollover, so same as before. All right, go ahead and roll soak. You only need 1 to completely negate any incoming damage.
2 successes.
All right, so yeah, he slams those brass knuckles again, aiming for your temple. You actually shift your shoulder up and sort of catch it on a glancing blow. And given the fact that your flesh doesn't adhere to normal laws of biology, you barely even feel it.
Right.
Not even a bruise. Maybe a little bit of a surface scrape.
All
right, you're back up again.
So I want to spend a blood point because I'm going to be drinking a good from these guys. So I'm going to spend a blood point to up my strength by 1.
Okay.
And I just want to elbow the guy with the brass knuckles in the face as hard as I can.
Okay. Are you you're making a called strike or just a
I mean, just
single
an
slam?
elbow strike, yeah.
Okay. All right. Dexterity and brawl difficulty 6.
2 successes.
Okay, so that'll be 1 rollover. So roll strength plus. Since you're going for the face, I'll say strength plus 2.
All right. Strength 2. 4 successes.
All right, so that puts him well into crippled range. He just goes down. He folds around like you can hear something crack in the face bones. Yeah, right. And he staggers back and sort of slumps a little bit. He's not completely unconscious, but he is struggling very hard to get back to his feet.
All right.
All right. PVC is going to try and give you a jab again. He does actually manage to make contact.
It's supposed to be 2-on-1 with some rich punk.
Right. And then it turns out he's annihilating the crap out of him.
Turns out I'm Batman.
Wow. Okay, so he rolled 6 dice for damage and none of them capped 5. So yeah, he comes down with that pipe, yanks it out of your grasp, slams it back down, and you just catch it open-handed.
All right. I would like to
This is probably what happens when 2 thugs run into Bruce Wayne in the middle of an alley.
It's definitely what
I
happened.
would like to use that pipe and his arm to lever him up, over, and onto his buddy.
Okay, we'll make this a modified sweep then. Dexterity and
Vampire Bruce Wayne has definitely been a thing.
Oh yeah, was that like Dark Justice or whatever? Yeah. So this will be Dexterity and Brawl, difficulty 7.
Okay. 1 success.
Okay, so that's a hit. Roll Strength, difficulty 6.
1 success.
All right, so he takes another point of damage, and let me see if he can manage to not get knocked over. Oh, he cannot. So yeah, you don't put a whole lot of force into it because you're more concerned with actually getting him into the position you want, and you just amp him up and over and manage to hook that one leg behind his heel, and he goes down on top of his friend.
Does the other guy take damage from the fall?
Probably, unless he can soak it. Let me see. That's a 5 and a 3. Yeah, so the guy underneath him, just his head gets slammed into the asphalt, and he's limp at this point, completely unconscious. The guy on top of him is kicking and struggling to get back up to his feet, which is what he's going to try and do.
His negative dice pool.
Yes, he is definitely reduced at this. Oops, too many dice. Hang on a second.
Too many dice.
Okay, he does manage to get back up to his feet, but that's all he manages to get done this turn. You're up again.
I just want to give him a good solid kick. I'm done. Wham!
Okay. Give me a Dexterity and Brawl, difficulty 7.
0 successes.
Okay, he does manage to sidestep that. Tries to yank the PVC out of your hand, which he manages to do, and then goes in for a swipe at you.
Okay.
He gets 1 rollover, which puts him only at 4 dice. Okay, you've got 2 incoming bashing, which is halved, so soak, you need at least 1.
2 successes.
All right, so yeah, another one, and he swipes it right across your face, and it hits your cheekbone and snaps your head to the side, and you do that perfect just, nope, we're back.
At what point does the PVC pipe break?
This is heavy PVC. This isn't going to break anytime soon.
Okay.
Not unless he starts hitting it against something with a sharp corner that's actually rigid. You've still got enough like soft tissue to where, it's not...
I've got those really nice cheekbones, though.
You've got nice cheekbones, but they're not break like quarter-inch PVC cheekbones. All right, you're back up again.
Yeah, just hit him again and try to.
All right. Dexterity and Brawl, difficulty 6.
5 successes this time.
Roll Strength plus 4, difficulty 6. If you don't put him down with this one, I will be very impressed.
Hang on. If I roll the correct number of dice, it would be better. 6
And
successes.
he is gone. Yeah, you just put him right into the dirt. Even with his maximum soak, which he does succeed at, he's still unconscious.
All right. Now to feed.
Now you've got 2 unconscious guys, and how many blood points are you at?
I'm at 2.
Okay. Well, and you're alone.
Yeah.
Oh no.
All right. So you going for Brass Knuckles or Pipe Boy first?
Pipe Boy first. He put up more of a fight.
Okay. Yeah, you don't even need to roll for the bite. You just roll him over, find an open place of tissue, and you sink your teeth in. I would like you to roll. How many self-control dice do you have?
4 dice. 4 dots.
Okay. And you've got 2 in your blood pool right now?
Yep.
You can roll a maximum of 2 dice since you only have 2 in your blood pool. This is a rule that I found in the book just recently.
Yeah, you can only roll up to your blood pool.
Can I use a willpower to auto succeed?
Nope.
All right. Let's
So,
murder a man.
2 dice.
Drinking him
6.
dry.
Let's juice box a
Yeah.
dude. Difficulty what?
Somewhere,
6.
Alexander's judging
wait,
your
no, hang on a second.
morality.
Sorry, you're gonna have to re-roll that.
All right.
Because I was.
Yeah.
Good, because that's a botch. So
No, honestly, it would probably bet I will let you re-roll that because the difficulty was wrong.
all right.
Hang on a second.
Difficulty's
Let me find
higher.
that chart in the book. Yes, difficulty is definitely higher. Yes, difficulty should be 7.
All right. Oh, I forgot to do 2, 7.
What happened?
I have to actually put dice in the pool. Double box.
Double box.
Oh my god!
I
Okay,
juice
that's double
box this motherfucker.
Yes, you drink literally every drop of blood in his body.
How much is that?
That is actually. Let me look because we haven't actually done that. I think it's 7. I want to say.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
8, 9, 10 to the man. Sorry.
This poor guy.
He's
He never
toast.
had a chance.
Oh no, your average human has 10.
Oh,
So he would have.
Oh,
I'll say
wow.
he has 8, given the beating he's
okay.
received at your hands. So yeah,
Hey,
he's got 8, and you just, you exsanguinate this sucker.
What do I have to
And-
roll to now? I feel like I have to make a humanity roll at this point.
You definitely have to make a humanity roll at this point. Yep. So yeah, you just, with that hunger, that dry, parched feeling in the back of your throat, the aggression that's rolling through your veins, and that sort of just territorial nature of that beast in the front of your mind, as you begin to swallow this man's bodily fluids, they just disappear down your throat. And the blood flows and the blood flows, and you don't even feel the usual sort of emotional burst you get off of a feeding on this one. It is just you and the blood right now.
Yep.
All right. So you make a conscience roll, difficulty 8.
All right.
So 3 dice, difficulty 8. No willpower spending.
3 dice, difficulty 8. 0 successes, but not a botch.
Okay. So as that happens, you're going to drop your humanity by 1.
All right. I am now at humanity 6.
And this is the first time that you've actually murdered somebody.
And it feels
Baited
good.
him in. You deceived him with what looked like an easy ploy. And then you beat the shit out of him and his friend and drank him dry in a damp, mucky alley on the north side of Seattle.
Such a
There is
gentleman.
blood in your stomach, but there is also blood on your hands.
What is? Yeah, just so I know. So I know.
Hilariously, at 6 humanity, accidental violation is the line that you're okay with.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. I am no longer troubled by this. Get up. Wipe my mouth clean. Look at the other guy.
He's unconscious.
The only problem is, you know you came in here with your friend. And I am still slightly hungry. So I'm going to fill up.
Okay.
I need 3 more, so.
All right. So, yep, you bite down. This one, as that spray hits the back of your throat, it's not nearly as intense of a circumstance as it was before. And you're able to hold yourself back and just drink with a little bit of more measured deliberation at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a faint tinge of worry around here. You don't know whether that's you or him, honestly. There's nothing specific about it. Doesn't seem to be focused anywhere. And you've got plenty of things that you could be worried about if you want. And it kind of makes you pause and almost drink pensively for a moment. The main issue, of course, is what are we going to do with the corpse? Because you can't lick a corpse and have the wounds disappear.
No.
But yeah, you can sort of top off rather thoughtfully and then let his limp form drop back down into the wet pavement.
I mean, the easiest way to get rid of them is to just burn them both alive, but... Well, one alive. Do I know if I can use the my dominate powers on an unconscious person?
You have to make eye contact, so generally no.
Just open his eyes. Where would I think, with my knowledge of the area, where would I think would be a good unoccupied place for a car fire?
Honestly, not really anywhere locally.
Yeah.
You would have to go a little further south, probably.
Mm-hmm.
There's always the railroad tracks, which are usually doable.
Mm-hmm. I should put them
but yeah, there's maybe a dock area or one of the beaches, possibly. Of course, the question there is, why was there a car fire if there wasn't any event that you would expect?
Also, light a car on fire.
I mean, yeah, put a dude in it and light a car on fire, but...
Get that intentional property damage, drop down to humanity 5.
Yeah. No. So, first of all, I'll lick the dude's wounds closed and, prop him up off to one side next to a dumpster or something.
Okay.
Is there a dumpster in this alleyway?
Yeah.
All right. I want to reach in, get a garbage bag.
Okay.
Undo the top, dump whatever's in it out, and then stuff the drained corpse into that.
There are no garbage bags in this dumpster that are big enough to hold an entire human male.
Even after he's had specific strategic parts of his body broken?
You're going to need several bags.
Okay.
And a 175 pounds of human body is going to rip through most garbage bags.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of the best way to get him out of here other than just dumping him in a dumpster and lighting it on fire. Can I think of it?
That's one way to mark a territory.
I know, right? Yeah. Can I think of... I don't know. Because I personally have never had to get rid of a body without access to a car. Is there a role I can make to think of a to
The way
is there
that
like
sentence was constructed is really hilarious.
is there like an idea role I can make?
Give me a wits and academics difficulty 8.
Wits academics difficulty 8.
Actually, it'd be intelligence academics. Sorry,
Intelligence
academics difficulty 8.
Domain
No.
doesn't apply.
Nice try, but no. You can always ask.
One success.
Chemicals. Chemicals are usually pretty good if you can get the right chemicals.
Oh, yeah, I do have I do have a large selection of chemicals at my warehouse still.
Get a fairly large selection of chemicals at your warehouse, yeah.
Do I have anything in particular that would work? Like, do I have like any
high or low?
Hydrogen peroxide, or not peroxide, but hydrogen sulfate? Low again.
You do not have it on hand. You think if you called Serenity with her medicinal background, she might be able to give you some advice?
Now I'll flip up my phone and dial Serenity.
Well, that didn't take long.
No, this is more of a philosophical question that I have for you.
Oh.
Okay.
If one were to, say, need to dissolve a corpse
Oh, God, really?
without using fire, what would you suggest?
Let me roll for Serenity.
I mean, the obvious answer is to ask Siri where to bury the body.
Right.
Siri, how do I hide a body?
Yes.
Just have Siri look up that one episode of Breaking Bad.
Siri, look
That's
up
honestly
Breaking
what
Bad.
I'm thinking of, yeah.
I believe it was a barrel of lye.
And
Lye
no,
works pretty
it
well,
wasn't.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like lye works
No,
really well, but
it's
lye is harder to
Or you
find.
could summon a bunch of domestic beetles.
it's actually hydro something acid.
Hydrochloric acid.
Hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric
Yep.
acid is specifically
Yep.
the
Yep.
chemical
Yep.
that turns human bodies into Slurpees.
So yeah, she mentions a couple types of chemicals. She says, "I don't know where you would get these. Alternatively, I don't know, a pig farm.
Is there a pig farm in Seattle?
Not that I know of. You'd have to find a pig farm.
I know.
I
What
don't
about-
keep track of pig farms, Gabriel.
What about that TV show on I think it was on AMC? Bald guy made meth. There was a big thing about him melting bodies.
Yeah, and I know that you can't do it in the bathtub. You have to do it in the poly whatever
Yeah,
containers.
yeah.
But right, yes. Give me 20 minutes, and I will have a solution for you. If you are in a place where you can sit for 20 minutes and not attract too much.
Oh yeah, no, nobody's coming down this alleyway.
shit. Oh God, of course you're in an alleyway. Okay, I'll be in touch. Give me a minute.
Click.
Do you want me to just?
Oh, she said give me a minute.
Right. Yeah. No, that was an afterthought that she had, but you hung up on her, so.
She's used
All
to
right.
that.
So, what is everybody else doing at this point?
Alexander has this just like sudden, I have a terrible feeling right now.
There's a disturbance in the force.
Naomi is like, I wonder what Lysander's life experiences are like and if they're applicable to any of our life situations.
Probably. He could probably tell you how to hide a body.
Then she
I
goes
was
back
just
to Googling
waiting
spiders.
for her little friend to get back.
Give me that intelligence and medicine again. Difficulty 7.
Me?
Yes, you.
Intelligence, and since she's had some time to sleep on it.
Yeah.
Intelligence and medicine difficulty 7. 2 successes.
You do, as you're sort of just idly waiting and thinking about all the sorts of things that have happened to lead you to this place where you're sitting in an abandoned house far to the south of Seattle waiting for a random individual to come pick you up again. You do remember where Mary Mallon comes from. It's actually the given name of the original Typhoid Mary,
Cute.
which doesn't necessarily make you feel better, but
Oh, I was not feeling good about this person at all. There's no way she could be feeling
but
worse
as far as
about her
the
right now.
iconic sort of Patient Zero nickname goes, Mary Mallon's about as on the nose as it gets.
Neato.
But yes, as you're waiting, eventually there will be just a faint glow from the outside as a pair of headlights apparently pulls into the driveway. You hear the key turn in the lock on the exterior door, and it swings open, and Mary is standing there. Well, are we ready?
I am. Thank you for breakfast.
Well, unfortunately, I wish we had more, but smaller
enough to
towns are
get
harder
by.
to. I'm glad you understand.
Of course.
Okay, well, let's be on our way.
All right.
She'll get in the car and begin to drive. Now, of course, given the nature of the circumstances, you will have to stay here in town until everything is underway. Trust is something that is hard to come by and takes some time to earn, as I'm sure you can understand.
I understand completely.
But
Not a problem at all.
You'll be staying at the hospital until we've got everything arranged.
Of course.
Great.
Internally screaming.
So she'll drive up to this large kind of sweeping installation, mostly made of brick, multiple stories tall, and you pass the exterior sign designating this as Western State Hospital, and pulls into a parking area. And as you approach, she guides you up to an entrance. There's a lot of security here. There, as you come in, there's a guard in an enclosed reception box with what looks like bulletproof glass on the exterior. There's a metal detector, and you're asked to submit anything that might set that off into a little kind of like that drawer that Jodie Foster uses to pass stuff to Hannibal Lecter. Just drop everything in there.
Okay. I think other than her phone and her hairpin, I guess.
Right.
There's such a Chekhov's gun feeling about that hairpin. I just feel like it's got to be good for something one of these days. But anyway, the hairpin, the phone, I think that's all she's got on her.
If you stab it at just the right spot in the back of somebody's head, you can scramble their brains.
This is true. Thank you, Gabriel.
I don't think a hairpin is long enough or strong enough. I think
it's not like a hat pin.
It doesn't have to be too particularly long or strong. It's just the gap between the bottom of your skull and the top of your vertebrae. There's nothing there to stop it other than brain.
I don't think it'd be strong enough though.
You're a vampire.
There is a layer of skin, and skin has a fair amount of tension to it.
Yeah, it's hard to punch through things.
I
I feel like she'd have better luck going through an
you can do
eyeball or something. Like an eyeball would be easier.
An eyeball would be great.
I mean, eyeballs are easy. It only takes a couple of pounds of force to pierce through human skin.
Yes,
But
but
anyway.
the amount of force and lack of hesitation.
This is not meant to be a
typical
tutorial
people
for our audience.
Which is why I'm not going into
We have
detail
no
as to which
idea.
chemicals Serenity may or may not have mentioned.
We have
No
idea
yeah.
who may be watching.
So you
What
submit your personal
strange,
effects,
twisted individuals.
go through the doorway, and as you approach that, the Mary passes off hers as well, and you enter in. give me a wits and investigation, difficulty 6.
It's an investigation. I wish these things were just alphabetical.
I know, right?
Difficulty 6. 2 successes.
Okay. And you definitely recognize, sort of as soon as you start to come in, this is definitely a medical facility. This is definitely a psychiatric hospital. Which kind of explains the security and, removal of personal possessions and that sort of thing. And it's got a very astringent feel to it. You walk through into a visitor's area, a visitor sort of waiting room. And Mary, leading the way, kind of glances at the woman behind the desk, who gives her a smile and a nod and a little bit of a wave. And without even breaking stride, she just pushes right through the waiting area into one of the medical wings and begins walking down the hallway. Definitely, she's known here. She's an individual who's allowed to pass without questioning or any hesitation. She walks down a number of halls. It's a fairly dizzying layout, probably fairly easy to get disoriented in. Till she comes to a doorway towards a stairway and opens it for you. It says, "We're going down," and lets you enter first.
Okay. Isla just does as she's told.
Okay. So you walk in, you're led, and you follow the stairs down about 2 stories before you get to the very bottom. And there's a gray door with that standard vertical sort of glass reinforced window in it. Doorknob. Seems to lead to some sort of sub-basement or other. And she'll open it and begin leading the way once more. The basement at this hospital, at Western State Hospital, is almost iconic. You'd feel like it was the perfect setup for shooting a horror film. There's exposed pipe, there's trailing cobwebs, there's distributed lighting, but not nearly bright or filling enough to shed more illumination than you need to just see your feet pretty much right in front of you. Plenty of shadowy corridors and corners. And that smell of must, the occasional groaning pipe or creaking sound from further up or further in. And as you walk forward, there's a faint glow coming from further down. Not the halogen bulbs that have very intermittently illuminated your way thus far, but something fluorescent. Something a little more clinical. And you'll take a bend around to the left-hand side of a hallway to reach a white room. There are a number of stainless steel metal cabinets, lab apparatus, and that sort of thing. And off to one side, because this only takes up about half the area, there's a little bit of a half wall in between. And then there's a fairly nicely appointed, still a white tile linoleum floor and very stark white walls. But some upholstered chairs, seating, small table. And you can see an individual, probably just under 6 feet in height, who's flipping over a book at one of the bookcases on the far side of this sort of more relaxed reception area. separated from the laboratory equipment. He turns and glances at you. Very well kept hair. Very reasonably well dressed. Give me a perception and politics difficulty 7.
5 successes. You recognize Nisaku.
Would that be politics or a cult?
3 successes.
You do recognize him. You've seen him at least once before since you woke up. This is Alec Wolf, the Malkavian Primogen. And we're going to take a break there for a minute.
Okay.
All right, we're back in just a couple minutes. So go ahead and stretch your legs, grab a drink, use the bathroom, whatever. Farm bits, whatever. We'll see you in a bit. And we're back. And Jack is bouncing around for some reason, and I've got coffee. So,
I've got alcohol in a water bottle.
I mean, I've got water in an alcohol bottle.
Yes, you do. We're like twins, only the opposite.
I mean, we are opposite. We are oppa twins.
Jack is John's evil twin.
Or
Jack is
or
even
I'm
a nickname
I
for
will
John,
accept
which
this.
I've never understood.
or I'm
Like,
We're
why
the
is Jack a nickname for John? It's like
I'll
exactly
tell you that
the same
after the
thing.
break.
I'm Jack's evil twin because I'm the one with facial hair. That's the rules.
It's true. I have to grow mine out a lot more before it actually becomes visible. So, Isla is now confronted with the presence of the Malkavian Primogen from Seattle, who is apparently down here in some smaller suburb in a laboratory in the basement of a mental hospital. And he simply looks at you and nods.
Good evening.
And in a very high, clear tone, he greets you as well. Yes, welcome.
And Isla just waits because she figures sooner or later somebody is going to tell her why the hell she's here.
Would you care to
So
have a
she just
seat?
went, of course.
Thank you for bringing her, Mary. I'm sure we'll be fine from this point forward. And the one designated Mary gives a smile, inclines her head, and turns and leaves. He'll sit down in the chair opposite you, lean forward, steeple his fingers. So, I presume Derek has spoken to you?
Not at great length.
Well, he wasn't at liberty.
I understand. I am patient. I have time, so I will wait for whatever explanations are deemed appropriate.
Less time than you think you have, I would assume.
Usually true.
That was ominous.
Yeah, I was not going to show any indication of distress, though. I mean, that sort of served no purpose whatsoever.
Young Isla, what is the one question you most wish answered?
I would like to know why Derek did not return for 3 years.
Unfortunately, I had him employed elsewhere. It is unfortunate that the connections we forge must sometimes give way to the greater good. For what it is worth, I would offer my apologies for the inconvenience of his absence.
He could have taken me with him. I would have gladly served whatever cause he was involved in. I suppose I'm only disappointed that he didn't trust me enough to take me with him.
He was not aware that he would be leaving. He told you everything that he could, as soon as he could.
Well, whatever I can do to assist him now, I am happy to do.
Your talents appear to be engaging others in meaningful ways that can clear the way, provide opportunity. You're a diplomat, from what I understand.
Yes, I would say that's accurate.
Lovely. I've been lacking one of those for quite some time and having to do the legwork myself, but unfortunately now my attention will have to be focused. having someone such as yourself to do these necessary things will be much more helpful.
Well, I am pleased to be useful. I have not felt useful in some time, and it is quite gratifying.
Splendid. Unfortunately, the gratification will have to be delayed somewhat. What is your current willpower?
Oh, fuck. Sorry.
I have 3 points of willpower currently.
Okay. Let me roll a thing.
Well, this is gonna go poorly.
Okay. What I will require for you to do is return to your companion. Hopefully by the end of the evening. You will join them in their investigations,
Mm-hmm.
and you will ensure that they understand that Nisaku's plans for this city involve the corruption of Green Lake.
Of Green Lake?
Yes. The blood that has been gathered from the murders will be poured into the lake. It will be accompanied, of course, by the necessary incantations by the clan of the Tremere in order to empower the area as a well of corruption, allowing the Ancient One to arise there from wherever he is hidden.
All right.
You came across this information by speaking to your friend Lysander's sire. She drove you around the city in her vehicle last night, discussing this with you, and then, with dawn approaching, all of you were required to spend the night elsewhere.
All right. How am I supposed to feel about all of this? How would you like for them to believe that I feel about all of this?
I will leave that to your own creative endeavors. The truth
All right.
is, of course, very compelling, even to those of our kind.
I can't remember the name of Lysander's sire. What name would she have given me?
Diana.
Diana. Okay. So Diana drove me around and told me this plan to corrupt the lake and so that Nisaku can be awakened from his resting place.
Indeed. She was able to tell you this because, unfortunately, the Tremere have been controlling her, using those gifts that alter the conduct and function of the mind. They possess great capacity in those disciplines,
Mm-hmm.
but their control over her was frayed slightly by the passage of time.
I see.
She is unfortunately once again under their control, and therefore it will be unlikely that you will be able to find her again.
And why did she choose me to reveal this information to? Was I simply the nearest person, or?
You were indeed.
Okay.
See, your creativity is already effective.
I knew it would come in handy for something. All right. I think I can manage this.
Very well.
Any other details I should let slip?
Should that be required, I will let you know.
All right.
Farewell, young Isla. I will see you again soon.
Farewell.
At this point, the door opens again, and you step out into the hallway. You have no memory of ever been to the hospital. You have no memory of ever seeing Alec Wolf. You have no memory of this conversation. You literally have the exact memories that he told you you would deliver.
Neato.
And Mary/Diana escorts you out to the vehicle.
So wait, so I didn't recognize her? I've seen pictures of Lysander's sire. I didn't.
You have seen pictures of her, but she's had a scarf over her face, and you can only see about this much.
Okay.
Yep. Now that you see her, you can sort of draw the connection. Oh yeah, no, I can see that, But yeah.
Okay.
She had been taking fairly decent capacity to cover her appearance, and she will escort you out to the vehicle. As far as you're aware, you're still driving around Seattle, having recently woken up.
You know what's amazing, though? Isla had already texted everybody, remember, saying, from this point forward, do not trust anything that I tell you aloud. Isla, you prophetic genius.
Yep.
Okay.
You are escorted out of the hospital into the car. She drives you north. You no longer have your phone.
Okay.
You do have your hairpin, though.
I'm glad she decided not to text anything weird, because now they have her phone and they can see all she said was, I'm fine, we'll talk later.
Yep. And they will drop you off in the domain. All right. So, right about now.
That's assuming they can even get into her phone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming they can.
I mean, it's. I'm assuming it's like
pretty
my
easy
phone,
to
it's got a
brain
phone.
blast someone to get their passcode.
But no, I mean, I'm assuming it's like mine and it's thumbprint
Oh, well, maybe.
protected, so they
Yep.
might be screwed. But just in case, she'd
Just in
try to
case.
make her texts very ambiguous.
Yep. And Mary/Diana will drop you off at the Statue of Lenin again. Give you a friendly wave and drive back off into the night.
All right.
So, where is everybody now, and what is everybody doing?
I'm still waiting for a call back from Serenity.
After I ate, I wanted to talk to Edward about what. Just I'd inform him what I know of the situation. That Nisaku was involved in this, and that is what we're investigating.
Okay.
Is there anything that you haven't told? I know they've been communicating with you, or with our people. Is there anything that you haven't told them? Just in case. I don't know what's going on here, and clearly this is above where I should be. So I just want a little bit of warning.
I can keep you updated, I guess. And if I stumble across any sort of problematic incidents or helpful information, I'll definitely pass that along.
All right. Well, that's good.
Nisaku is bad news.
I got that
I've heard the
feeling.
name before. He's an old guy. He's been around the block more times than most other people have, and yeah, he's an agent of chaos. That one. If he's knocking around Seattle, we're all fucked.
Yeah, and we're kind of stuck here, so it's great. This is great.
Yeah, we might need to pass the word up the line, because I wouldn't be surprised if the closed borders gets changed up pretty soon. Sabbats start coming into the city, that's when people start calling in reinforcements. And if reinforcements aren't allowed inside, well, then you're up the creek without a favor.
Yeah. All right.
But we'll keep you updated, Velma.
Good. And I head off back to the domain.
Sounds good. So Serenity will contact you back with some basic instructions on how to dissolve a corpse, more or less.
Sweet.
It'll probably take you about an hour or so of running around and purchasing things at various places, but you feel like it's well within your, at least, financial resources to probably get together what you need.
So I will hide the drained body under the dumpster. Just roll, clink. Assuming that it's not going to be picked up in the next
Give me
hour.
a strength and athletics, difficulty 6.
That depends on when the garbage gets picked up.
Typically not at 2 in the morning.
Depends on if something.
It's about 11 p.m. right now, dude.
I don't know where you guys live, but where I live, garbage comes at noon.
That depends
Somewhere
on cities
2
are
and
different.
5 a.m.
I have my family, my uncles were in the garbage business, so it's
What was the
it's
difficulty?
at all hours.
What was the difficulty?
6.
Yeah, when you got an entire city to cover, you just have garbage trucks running around the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 successes. So
Different
yeah,
areas
you
get different times.
I
of
just
day.
know
lay the
from
corpse out on the
Sin
ground.
City. That's
you
my
put your
experience with
shoulder
garbage
into
routes.
the dumpster, kind of heave on it a little bit. There's a nice little crunching, grinding sound as because a body usually sits about that high.
Yeah, no, it's...
And the gap on the dumpster is about that high.
Yep.
There's a nice little crunching, grinding sound, and you walk around the other side, and he's kind of bundled up, but definitely not under the dumpster.
Wait,
He's mangled, but
the dead body?
yeah, the dead body.
He's not, like, hidden from view?
Oh hell no! You can't put when there's about 6 inches of clearance. You can't put about a foot tall object on it just by sliding it against it.
I'll roll him back out from underneath it.
He's not underneath it at all.
Pick him up, just shove him into it, close the lid.
Okay, that works.
There's
There's a little bit of a smear on the pavement, but not so much that anybody would probably notice unless they had like dog smell.
The dude
Werewolves.
that's still unconscious.
Yep.
The dude that's still unconscious, I'm just gonna like carry him to the other end of like the other end of the alley, and just dump him there so he'll wake up on his own eventually. Do you have a rough estimate of how long it'll take for him to wake up?
Probably pretty soon. I mean, if he takes more than a minute to wake up, he's been stirring a little bit, so you're pretty sure you haven't inflicted like traumatic brain injury.
Well, in that case, I'm just gonna grab and slam against the wall to make sure he stays out for a bit.
Inflict traumatic brain injury. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So you're going to inflict traumatic brain injury.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's still awake. Bam.
All right.
So kill one guy and cause brain damage to the next.
Viciously incapacitate for the remainder of his life the other. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Neato.
Hey. You seem to think I care. I dropped below.
We're just trying to make you feel bad about it.
I dropped below the threshold of care.
No, planned violation is humanity 3.
That was a planned lifelong brain injury you just inflicted.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna have to take another.
This is actually a PSA for anyone watching. Despite what they show you in the movies, if someone gets hit on the head hard enough that they are rendered unconscious, they will probably have some variety of brain damage for the rest of their lives. So don't ever do that as like a harmless way to knock somebody out.
I will not crush his head.
Kids, do not try this at home. We are evil vampires.
To knock people out.
There is one.
I will.
If you strangle someone until they pass out, they wake.
Yeah.
I will.
They wake
As
up
long as
with
you
a
do it to
terrible
compress
headache,
the blood
but
vessels
no
and
permanent
not
damage.
the wind pet.
Yep, you just cut off blood flow to the brain.
He's stirring, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to sort of get his attention as he's sort of in that groggy, half-awake state.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to dominate him.
Okay.
And I
Night for domination.
am going to use the Forgetful Mind.
Oh, splendid. That will be wits and subterfuge.
Yep.
Difficulty 4.
I'm going to spend a willpower for an auto success. And wits subterfuge.
Mhm.
Do I get any domain dice?
No.
Okay. 5 successes, which means I can reconstruct entire periods of his life. So
how fucked up are you going to make this guy?
So this man has amnesia and has for the past 10 years been living as a homeless man on the streets of Seattle with no idea of where he comes from originally. And he's been, as far as he knows, he passed out drunk here in the alleyway by himself.
This
Okay.
is how you get the angry man on the bench.
This is exactly how you get the angry man on the bench. Because something is wrong. He hates his life. He knows it shouldn't be like this, but as far as he knows, this is what it's like.
Technically 6 successes, because I did spin for the auto success. So.
Yes.
Yeah, but basically, it just like I'm crafting him a narrative of memory loss some while back, and as far as he knows, he's just been a bum for a long time.
Okay.
And he passed out after a particularly bad night of binge drinking, which is why he has a headache right now.
All right.
And then and then after that's done, hey buddy, you okay? Smack, smack, smack.
And the giant swelling knot on his head is nothing for him to worry about.
Fuck off.
Hey, you stumbled over you, man. You need a ride somewhere? You okay?
Yeah, I'll take a ride.
Where you need to go?
Culver City. I mean, fuck. There's a place downtown.
Sure, we'll get you a cab.
Okay, yeah, no. Six and Pike could be good.
Cool. I'll call an Uber for him.
Okay. Call the man an Uber and drop him off at a restaurant downtown.
Yep. Let him figure his life out.
Maybe. Now I'm going to have to name this guy so he can come back later.
And then I will proceed to go do my shopping.
Joe Chill.
Naomi wants to talk to the now crazy guy.
That was the weirdest combination of consideration and utter callousness I have ever seen.
Thank you.
So it was delightful.
A particularly Gabriel-esque cocktail of apathy and sensitivity.
Gabriel will take the next hour collecting supplies.
Mm-hmm. And then dissolving a body.
And then the following hour, where are you going to dissolve this body?
Did Serenity indicate a proper place to do so?
Yeah, you have to buy some like Rubbermaid bins and do it in a Rubbermaid bin.
Sure.
Right. But where? You can't just sit on a street corner throwing body parts into a Rubbermaid bin and pour chemicals on top.
Why not? No.
Okay, you can if you want.
No,
There's going to be some rolls involved.
No. I'll get the car and take him back to the warehouse.
Okay.
And basically turn like one of my coffins into a Rubbermaid tub and dump him in there and let it go.
All right.
I love how many. I have a running count of how many watch list Gabriel is probably on.
Oh yeah.
I have a running count of how much Gabriel gives a shit. It's currently sitting at 0.
So you find a fairly well ventilated area of the workshop.
Yep.
You put the body into the largest Rubbermaid bin that you were able to purchase. You dump the chemicals on it. It starts boiling and fuming. You manage to obviously, chemical fumes probably aren't going to bother you very much since you don't have to respire. But it's probably going to be about 3 or 4 hours before it's actually fully slurry.
That's fine. Just shove it in a corner somewhere. I'll come
You
back
put
and
like a sign on it or anything.
do not touch.
Do not touch.
I put it somewhere in the warehouse where it's not going to be disturbed, like
Okay.
behind coffins and
Serenity's
things.
asleep at this point, so
Yeah, and I'll deal with it, and I'll come back and deal with it later in the night.
Okay.
Or you might want to put a lid on that because Serenity is still a living creature.
Yeah, no, like it. In a
I've never met the Serenity, but I
workshop
am fascinated.
in a workshop you
Serenity.
have air vents, like you have a
Yeah, you've got a ventilation system in there.
Yeah.
For when
Just
you're
You've got a
working
fume
with
hood.
things and-
Please say you have a fume hood.
yeah, fume head. That was the thing I was looking for.
Yeah, a hood.
Because you work with caustic chemicals when you're designing tricks that are meant to explode.
Yep. Yeah, you've got your basic safety
Yeah.
workspace OSHA shit
Put it
in your workshop.
put it in the fume hood. Close the thing. Lock it up.
You have
Because
to turn
you-
on the fan.
Yeah, and turn on the fan. But yeah, no, because they have to be lockable just in case it's a chemical that does explode. And so you don't want somebody who doesn't know what they're doing coming over, opening it up, and going, "Oh, what's this?" So,
Kaboom.
yeah,
All right.
and then
So,
I'll return.
By the
back
time
to
you
the
finish that up, Isla has probably gotten back to town and has been dropped off at the statue again.
I have a question regarding my memory. Do I remember being in that place, waking up, getting the post-it notes and all that?
No.
What is
You
the
re-
last
you-
thing I remember?
The last accurate thing you remember is getting
Getting
in
the
the
car with Diana. Then
Mary
it's
slash
replaced
Diana.
by, okay, so excellent. So if I see the text message I sent afterward, I'm going to know that I don't remember sending it, and that will possibly trigger some suspicion.
Possibly, yes.
Okay.
I mean, most of your memories will incorporate fairly well, like the units of blood and that sort of thing will be incorporated into this is what happened the evening when I woke up again, but they'll be sort of overlaid by thinking that you've been in Seattle all the time, that this other somewhat benign stuff happened.
So where do I remember waking up and drinking blood?
You
and
remember
all that?
waking up in a more or less abandoned house in a cot and that sort of thing. You just, as far as you're concerned, you think you were in Seattle at the time when that happened.
Okay, but I remember Diana leaving me blood and
Right.
Does she
You
remember
remember
the
her.
labels?
She'll probably remember the labels. Yep.
okay. She was making a note to remember that at the time because she didn't
Yes,
know
she
she
was.
was going to be going there physically.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah.
This is all. This is a really hard thing to do mentally to
Yes,
firewall. So I'm just making sure that I do it right.
No. Ask as many questions as you need.
Yep.
All right. So Isla is standing at the statue of Lenin. Gabriel is just finishing up dissolving or prepping bodies for dissolution. Velma, you're just now getting back to the domain, having walked south from Green Lake.
Mhm.
Alexander, you went and fed off your herd. Where are you headed now?
I need to contact Jimmy Ulster and see what the status of the investigation on the vehicles outside the theater is.
Okay. He will answer his phone if you give him a call. Yep. Yeah, Alexander, I guess you're checking up on last night's escapade?
Yes, I am wondering if it's safe to retrieve my vehicle.
Should be just fine. I talked to my fellows on the squad. Got in touch with a couple of people who were involved in the investigation, and called in a few favors. So you got your bike, but you owe me one.
And the other escapade from that night.
Oh, Gabriel and Lysander both owe me 3.
Good to know. I'll relay that.
Which means Lysander owes him 6.
But yeah, he's covered. He should be able to pull that off. As far as anybody will probably know on official reports, it was a crime of opportunity that a passing bunch of criminals noticed, but the car was found abandoned and eventually returned to its rightful owner.
Good to know.
Yep.
Very well. I will update you on anything else that goes horribly wrong.
Fantastic. That would be wonderful.
All right, and I'll hang up unless he has anything else to say.
Nope. He's good.
All right, then I'll hang up and go retrieve my bike.
Okay. Yep. No, your bike is down at Police Plaza. And when you show up, whoever the impound lot attendant is definitely is apparently expecting you, has you fill out some basic paperwork, nothing too invasive, and you've got your keys and your bike.
All right. And I will take my bike and head back to the domain.
All right. Naomi, what are you up to right now?
So
Having spent some time working on commissions, right?
yeah, sometime on commissions. She also is trying to locate any hospital analogous building, old like haunted house down there.
Okay. A simple Google search will give you Western State Hospital in Lakewood, Washington.
Okay.
One of the largest psychiatric facilities west of the Mississippi. It's been there for quite some time, and definitely sort of analogous to what you saw in your astral jaunt.
I'm gonna forward that to the investigation team, which is everyone who's here on Lysander.
Okay.
Probably someone else I don't remember. Would this match the hospital we're looking for?
Potentially.
Because it's got a very angry syringe monster that wanted to slice my cord. That doesn't actually have a question mark on it, so it probably comes across as a lot more confident.
When we get back, explain more thoroughly, but it is a hospital where one could store large amounts of blood, yes. That's really the only requirement we had.
Now, psychiatric hospitals are not known for keeping a lot of blood on hand.
No, but they still have to have some on hand because psychiatric
Because-
patients cut themselves.
Yes, they would still have your basic medical facilities, and being able to give somebody a transfusion is included in that. But yeah, they're not going to have like their own dedicated blood bank or anything.
No.
At least that they advertise to the public.
At least that they
If
advertise.
it's secretly run by Malkavians, who knows?
Who knows?
No, I don't know that part.
You know it's secretly run by a needle monster.
Right. All right. So Isla, having been dropped off at the statue of Lenin, where are you headed?
I guess I'm going to try to get back to Gabriel's place. Or wherever I was living before.
Okay.
Not to the apartment in the domain?
Again, like wherever I was actually living before. I have a really bad memory in real life, so
No, that's fine. Yeah. You've been spending most of your nights at the workshop. However, the last time you guys were staying anywhere, or the last location in the domain you guys had met was the apartment. And you know that the workshop is in the process of being sold.
Okay, then I guess the apartment
and
would
I
make more
will
sense.
reach out to Alexander as well, saying we need to talk.
Okay.
In which case, I will make my way to the domain again. Just still making my way there.
Okay. So pretty much everybody's converging on the domain then.
Yep.
I'm guessing. Okay. All right. So we will fast forward the scene to where everybody's walking in or already at the apartment. Oh, real quick, Naomi, since you've been working on commissions, give me a intelligence and crafts roll, difficulty 6.
Can I spend for an auto success?
Nope, not for this one.
Okay. One success, 2 if this is mechanical, which is my specialty as an artist.
I would say so.
Oh god, only 2 successes on art.
2 successes,
I feel bad.
no. Well, I mean, it's an extended roll. So once you get a certain number of successes, it's more just how much time do you have to invest in order to get the projects done, more or less.
Okay.
All right. So at this point, everybody's in the apartment. Except for Lysander, who is still off doing his things and trying to buy a car.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Is
I have-
Hopefully that goes better this time.
Is Isla there when I get there, or does she arrive after I get there?
Given that she was dropped off so close, I would say she probably is already there by the time you get there.
Right, yeah. So when if she's there when I get there, my first reaction would be, Isla, where have you been?
It's kind of a long and complicated story that should probably wait until everyone is together.
Okay. We'll wait then. And
It's probably only about another 10 minutes or so before everybody who is going to show up shows up.
Right.
I walk in. And I sit down and start knitting. It's a different thing this time. It's yellow now.
Isla's just like has this look on her face, like,
ah,
yeah,
yes.
it's Granny.
Yeah, you
Isla.
remember me. This is great.
Isla, this is Velma.
Velma is hideous.
Yep.
Yeah, Isla's not really into that whole aesthetic
She
at
has-
all.
Nosferatu, they have a zero appearance.
She has been assigned to our group for the investigation.
Nice to meet you.
Charming.
No,
She looks
I
like
grin
like
at
a monster made out of several of the worst parts of a nursing home.
I grin at you.
It's a
I'm
row of
enjoying your discussion.
ugly teeth.
Just railroad spikes right across the
I
road.
mean,
Yeah.
Isla looks like
just
physically
eat,
uncomfortable. This is
She's
like
eating
a
my teeth.
Toreador's nightmare. The least aesthetically pleasing person
Yep.
imaginable.
There might be something in my teeth. I mean, I haven't flossed, so.
there's bits of a hobo in her teeth.
I was gonna say she's got some hobo right here. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Uh,
Isla,
she tears her gaze away from the horrifying spectacle and tries to remember what her train of thought was before Nightmare Granny appeared.
The best.
Right. Is Lysander around? He might want to be here for this. Is Lysander? He's not here.
No, he's being himself.
Right. Well, I'm sure someone can update him. I fled the building that was on fire. Found myself alone in the streets at some point. I dimly remember being trampled for a bit first, but then I somehow found my way out into the street, into an area of town of which I was not familiar. And that was where I, as I mentioned before, I encountered Derek briefly.
Yes.
And then I had him drop me off. It was at the Statue of Lenin, right? I'm asking. Okay. At the Statue of Lenin. And while I was there, Lysander's sire pulled up in a car and asked me to get in. She did not introduce herself at first by her proper name, and I did not recognize her. But at some point in the evening, and my memory is a little fuzzy, but she did reveal to me at some point that she was Lysander's sire, Diana, and told me exactly what Nisaku was planning.
That's convenient.
Naomi will
I am
say,
only
how
reporting.
did she know?
She didn't
Does
explain.
Isla not have her phone? Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
Isla does not have her phone.
Yep.
You text, my phone buzzes.
I text everyone in the room. Hopefully
Yeah.
has their phones out because that's how I talk. Damn it!
Isla reaches for her phone and then
Where's your phone?
I don't know. Could she have taken it from my pocket when
Do you remember it?
I remember texting you and putting it back in my pocket. I don't know if it fell out or if she pickpocketed me or someone else pickpocketed me, but it's gone now. I don't have it. Anyhow, that's not even the important part. The important part is what she said, which but what she told me was that she has been controlled by the Tremere that they've been keeping her under some kind of control, which is why she hasn't been able to communicate with Lysander or with us, that the Tremere have been mind controlling her or something, but that it had started to wear off over time, and she had just gotten enough of control over herself back that when she saw me, and I guess somehow she knew that I was one of Lysander's friends, and pulled right over and very quickly spilled everything while she could. She seemed urgent about it. Like it seemed as though she only had a brief period of control of herself in which to tell me all of this. That doesn't mean she was telling the truth, but I just know that it was because she had the control, that their control was slipping. And she was able to tell me that the plan was to dump all of the blood they've been gathering into the lake. Oh, what was the name of the lake again?
Green Lake.
Green Lake. To dump it into Green Lake, and that the tainted lake was going to somehow serve as some kind of nexus or focus or something that would allow Nisaku to be awakened from his hidden resting place or what have you, and return to us in full power.
So, my first question that I think I would know, but I don't know if I would actually. Would I know how likely it is that if the Tremere were to be dominating somebody, which, happens on occasion, how likely is it that we, as anal as we are about our control, would ever let that come close to slipping?
Mind control, as you know. Well, actually, roll me an intelligence and occult difficulty 7.
Because I do have dots.
Well,
Because you have it.
dominate.
Yeah. Otherwise, it would be higher. But yeah.
Naomi's trying to metaphysically fact check. Does that feel right on a not magical, but madness level, given that Nisaku is involved?
Oh, as far as crazy ass plans, yeah, that kind of checks out.
3 successes.
3 successes. You do know that mind control and conditioning is a very delicate process, and with obviously you can minimize the risk by utilizing it with as much subtlety and caution as possible. And the more control you have over somebody, usually the less
Functional
they are able to maintain. So if you're trying to maintain somebody at a level of functionality, it is very easy for that to slip.
Yep.
Or for you to have to consistently update and recondition and recontrol and redominate somebody. So it's not, I mean, it's no crazier a story than any of the other things that you've encountered running around with the Tremere in the past.
Yeah.
The weird thing is that it's the Tremere trying to bring the Malkavian back.
If this Malkavian was controlling the members of my clan, it wouldn't be so strange. However, I feel like I would have been at risk of manipulation if it's my entire clan doing something.
Maybe you are.
She didn't say it was the entire clan. She said it was Tremere. What was the exact wording? I can't remember as the player.
It was referenced vaguely, but he mostly said the Tremere, not necessarily. Which
she said,
doesn't necessarily mean all of them, but it means more than one of them. As
I recall, she said the Tremere, and I may have interpreted that as her meaning the clan as a whole, but she may have just meant those particular Tremere who have been mind controlling me. She was speaking very fast, and it was all very vague.
So many places.
So it could be just a small group of them, if it's at all true.
I'm just trying to see. I'm trying to fact check in my own head, basically, and just like reasoning what we know and have experienced firsthand. The Sabbat being targeted at the Tremere, like everything that I know related to the Tremere. They did know who, I did find out who Nisaku was from the Tremere.
Mm-hmm.
But the Sabbat were targeted at the Tremere specifically. Like they were being accused of having the Book of Nod. we were the first people to be attacked by a Sabbat.
Mhm.
I don't recognize any sort of Tremere. At least I didn't recall. I didn't know any sort of Tremere ritual that would be used on this grand scale.
No, but there are you know comparatively few rituals.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't
period,
necessarily
so,
know. Yeah, I don't necessarily know what
Right.
a ritual might be.
Yeah, you can't necessarily discount this
So
sort of thing.
adding all this information in my head, it doesn't quite line up. But I don't know if that's just me, the player, or
right.
the
It's
character.
it's plausible,
Yeah.
but it's not. But there are still holes. Yeah.
Naomi,
I would just
Naomi will-
wonder. Oh, go ahead. Go for it.
this has always happened to me. Naomi will say, if it's Tremere, perhaps it's individuals hoping that this will give them greater capability by discrediting their leadership. Their leadership being as much implicated as the former leaders of the entirety in the negligence.
So has I know that part of that was Michelle, but in the delivery, how confident did Isla sound in delivering this information?
Yeah, that was my question because I'm pretty good at reading people. I have a lot of empathy, so I don't know if I'm picking up anything.
Here's a thing
Off.
that I'm trying to sort out for myself. She delivered it pretty much just as I did, where she's like
Yep.
a little hesitant about it, but like, okay, I think this remember, and this might not even be true. You know, she definitely didn't seem. But here's what I'm trying to figure out, and this is where the mind games come into it. Is that Isla's plan was that she was not going to speak aloud any true intelligence that she got. She was going to deliver on paper via written messages in a way that could not be traced by anyone. Mm-hmm. And now she finds herself telling them exactly what happened, which is not what she planned to do, but it is what she was obviously influenced to do. So she's sitting here telling this story, and at the same time, she's wondering at herself, why am I telling them all of this? Because this is exactly what I didn't want to do. So why am I telling them everything?
I'm wondering if there's a role.
She knows something is weird.
I'm wondering if there's a role I or Velma or both could make to with the information we received previously, which was Isla telling us not to trust everything she says from here on out.
I didn't hear that, but
I got that at least. And then
I have no context
with how she's behaving now. Is there anything that I could roll to put together that something's off? Not necessarily with the story, but with Isla.
Wits and empathy, difficulty 7.
And do I need to roll anything to figure out what she makes of the fact that she is spilling all this information out loud?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Velma, you can make the same roll, but it's difficulty 8 for you because you don't know Isla nearly as well.
Mm-hmm.
Isla, your roll is going to be wits and... Honestly, I'm going to say wits and empathy, difficulty 6, because you're trying to read yourself.
So I
got 3.
I spent a willpower point for an auto success, although if I couldn't do that, I'll retroactively direct that. So I have 1 success.
1 success, all right.
3.
So
for Velma, okay.
Naomi, do you have some pen and paper?
Actually, Naomi was trying to.
Oh.
I didn't want to interrupt you guys. She was actually pulling out one of her larger sketch pads and starting to draw like all sorts of animals and buildings, probably like the Space Needle, other local.
Okay, that's better yet because then Isla doesn't have to say that out loud.
Cues, some of which have been used in our vocabulary. There's definitely a cat on there. Or our vocabulary. Naomi's interpretation of other people playing along as totally legitimate conversation.
Right.
And like locations, maybe even a few faces. And just is going to be like, for divination's sake, everyone circle something and pass it first to Alexander.
Okay. This is perfect. So that way Isla doesn't even have to ask that question aloud. She's very paranoid. Like she thinks the place might be bugged and all this stuff. So
right.
Which is
Gabriel,
why
you
she's
know
like, why did I fail that?
something's off with Isla. It might just be that she had a really weird past 2 days. Nothing's jumping out at you specifically, just this isn't Isla's normal.
Okay. I'll ask him.
Velma,
So
you're
I'm gonna wait until I get the paper past me.
Velma, you're trying to read Isla, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously she's brand new to you, but
Yeah.
you can tell that something specific is bugging her. You don't know what
Okay.
the specifics are, but she's genuinely trying to communicate with everybody. She's obviously not trying to hide anything,
Okay.
but something is off, and she recognizes it. Isla,
Okay.
with 3 successes for you, you're definitely picking up on those aspects that you mentioned. You
Okay.
weren't going to just blab this out to a room of people, especially when somebody's there that you like met in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
and now I feel like it's totally okay to do that for some reason, even though I had
right.
previously decided that was not okay. So yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
know exactly what she's
Yay
gonna
for
do.
us setting logic traps for ourselves.
I got smart
so,
players. What can I say?
A question, Jack.
Yes.
Specifically with 3 dots of dominate and the forgetful mind, in the ability it does say that you have the power to remove mental tampering that somebody else has undergone.
Yes.
How does that give me any ability to sort of determine if somebody's mind has been tampered with?
Yes, it does.
What would I do?
However, you would need to roll a wits and empathy difficulty 8.
Any sort of modifiers for that?
No modifiers for that.
I'm just curious what Alexander chooses to circle.
2 successes.
What is
So hang on a second, Alexander. So yeah, you as you're trying to see if anything's wrong with Isla, you think about, I mean, she's referenced memory tampering already as being something that the Tremere are adept at and have apparently been doing to Lysander's sire.
Yeah.
And that sort of jogs that impulse in your mind, and you sort of focus in, try and catch her eye, which is not very difficult. She's bloodbound to you. She'll lock eyes with you without really even thinking about it. And you stare at her and you let that blood sort of burn in your veins just slightly. You don't have to spend any blood for it. And you focus your mind trying to determine, yeah, no, her memories haven't been tampered with at all.
All right.
I like it.
Nice.
She's confused and she's a little uneasy, but no, her memories are her own, definitely.
Okay. And I look over and see a pad of paper being passed around. What? I look at my phone. Why are we circling things?
So I was
For
given
divination purposes, she said.
I was given a specific message that I needed to speak with her, and she just handed me the sheet of paper first.
Right.
Yep.
So I am taking a very close look at this image before I do anything. What is on it?
Animal. There's a whole bunch of probably crude, a little bit rushed. Jack, stop me if I'm not allowed to do any of this, but it's just
You're going
basic
fine.
drawings. Animals, a few iconic local landmarks, generic faces like man, woman, kid, old lady, that sort of thing. A tree, a book, something that probably is like explosion symbol. The things you'd find on like children's flashcards, the little ones you show to a kid, like, what is this word? It's cat, that's right, that sort of thing.
Probably some food, yeah.
Yeah, probably some food.
So yeah, basically it's a hand-drawn emoji selection, pretty much.
Does anything stand
Less
out among
faces,
those
but yeah.
images?
To you, can I ask a player to make a roll, or is that not okay?
Yeah, go for
Sure.
it. What do you want him to make?
What would you like me to roll?
I'd say wits and empathy, probably difficulty 6, if that's...
Yeah. Difficulty,
Yeah.
standard difficulty.
And I'm sort of looking at Alexander's taking a minute to look at this, right? He's like carefully. While he's looking at that, Naomi, you said
One
something about a
success.
hospital.
Naomi doesn't like fire. And a lot of the things Naomi doesn't like aren't on there. But the fire symbol is. Like, there's no dogs. There's no dogs, there's no wolves. That sort of thing. Spider's actually probably on there twice, but... and the book itself is actually, like, the fire symbol is on the book. As opposed to being its own separate symbol. Which... I don't know how Lysander chooses to interpret that. Naomi has a specific message
Or Alexander.
conveying. Alexander, you two and your character change.
One of you, Anders.
One of you Anders need to change, okay? Can't both wear the same last part of your name.
Alex.
All right.
Sorry.
So what does Alexander circle?
The one that stands out to him the most, which is the burning of the Book of Nod.
Okay. So you circle that.
And he slides it over to Isla.
Okay. Isla just rather carelessly circles a cat and then flips the page and writes, "Something is wrong. I don't know why I just said all that, period." And then passes it. And don't read this aloud. And passes it to Naomi.
Naomi will take it back. Look through the pages. Rivers of fire, lakes of fire, connection, and just continue going on with the conversation.
All right. Who does the pad get handed to next, if anybody?
I don't know what order we're sitting in, but next person in line is going to be Gabriel.
All right.
I'll take it.
And he would have seen Isla write a fairly extensive note on the next page before she...
I look at the symbols. I flip the page up. I flip the page back down. Just is there a hospital on there?
There's probably a plus sign.
I circle that and put an exclamation mark next to it, and then pass it to Velma.
Oh, well, I clearly look at the back of that page because you all were looking at it.
Yeah, this is what I didn't want to happen.
You're just passing me these things.
Not your fault.
Yep. Well, that's weird. All right. Oh, look, a hospital. I circle that one.
Did
again.
she say hospital out loud just now?
It's a plus sign. It's
Okay.
next to like the exclamation.
Isla immediately said,
and
"What is the name of that hospital? What is the name of the hospital she was at?"
Western
Naomi,
State
I
Hospital?
need to
The
find
one
you-
that-
Isla
the one that had-
immediately says out loud, "Western State Hospital."
Does that ring a bell with me?
Give me an intelligence and academics roll, difficulty 8.
I look back at my
Okay.
phone because
That
didn't
doesn't.
Naomi, what did you text me the name of the hospital, or did you? Yeah, you did.
I mean, I texted like the Wikipedia page or
Yeah.
their site, something like that.
Said academics and.
Can I quickly retcon because I just forgot my own thing for a second? She wouldn't say that out loud, I don't think.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
she suddenly just snatches the pad away and writes Western State Hospital on it.
Which, as
All
far
right,
as you know, is just
Diana-
a sticker you saw on a unit of blood. But
Diana
yes.
brought me blood from there. Hands it back.
I'll look at
Who's
it.
Diana? Difficulty 6, you said?
Difficulty 8.
Naomi will
8.
I'll-
Lysander
I'll, like,
fire.
I'll hold the writing of the hospital
0,
name
no botch.
towards Naomi, tapping it with my fingers. I think we need to go have ourselves an investigation. Tapping the name of the hospital still.
Isla nods
I
gratefully
will
at Gabriel.
give him a Google Maps address and look at him a little bit sternly.
And
Well,
that is where we will leave it for the night.
All right. We have been Final Show Films. We produce a wide variety of content every day of the week. You can check us out on our website at finalshowfilms.com. You can check us out on our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms. If you'd like to support us financially, you can do so there. I'd like to thank all of our patrons, especially our $25 tier supporters, Chris, Comfort, and Antitonic, without whom we wouldn't be able to do quite as much of the stuff that we do. And thanks to them and everyone that supports us on our Patreon page, at the end of the month, we'll be buying a new mixer. A new one of these. One that has several more XLR inputs so that when we start live streaming our Sunday evening game, we will all have nice mics like this that you can hear us all in. So look forward to that. That's coming fairly soon, in the next couple of weeks, if we can get everything set up correctly. So yeah, look forward to that. Also, for those of you watching, if you like the stuff that we do and you'd like to support good causes for charity, on July 1st, we will be doing a Constitution Check charity stream. There will be 24 hours of D&D content over at twitch.tv/Constitution Check. 100% of the proceeds will be going to Planned Parenthood. So if you want to donate to a good cause, feel free to come watch our stream. I will be GMing in the 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern time slot that evening. Mara will be GMing. What's your time slot, Mara?
7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. Nice and early.
Mara kicks the whole thing off.
Yep.
And I'm going to be doing a Waterdavian Knights game. Basically, if you've ever wondered what the city guards of Waterdeep do when they're not dealing with a bunch of pesky adventurers, come check out my game. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I just had Jeremy's impulse when you said that. The Waterdavian Nights, like Waterdavian Days.
Sure, why not?
Basically, it's going to be us knocking around, trying to solve crimes, and I'm going to be quoting the Untouchables a lot.
Mara, what's your game?
And I'm Soldier 76.
Mine is a folk tale. Kids have been going missing from a tiny little village, and all of the villagers who have have a little bit of weird magic because there's something weird in the water around there.
Like we have the polar opposites right here. That's great.
It's amazing. There's something for everyone.
So yeah, if you're looking for a good time, come hang out with us. This vampire stream or whatever stream is happening on that day. If it's vampire, if it's another game, because we're maybe approaching the end. We'll still be here on that time slot. It'll just be we'll just be at 3 hours after this ends is when we'll be starting our Constitution Check game. So feel free to watch. Also, we'd like to thank the folks over at 411mania.com for putting up our content over there. 411mania.com is a geek culture website that produces content related to all sorts of things geeks like. Wrestling, MMA, movies, music, entertainment, gaming news, including all of our podcasts. And we appreciate them for putting our stuff up there. Also, Michelle, you have a book. You have a couple of books.
Yeah, my second book just came out. It's called
I've got it right
Phantom
here.
Pains. Oh,
I got it right here.
Yep,
Nice.
It's called Phantom Pains. It's the second book in my urban fantasy series, The Arcadia Project, out from Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. And the first book just got, it was recently nominated for a Nebula Award. And so the second one is out now. And they're good if you like urban fantasy and stuff. Thanks.
I know people that have read them that say they are very good books.
Ooh.
So yeah, if you want to go read some good fiction, then go try that. I guess would be. I'm bad at making plugs.
Really are.
I'm really bad at
Enjoy reading words.
If you enjoy a nice cup of book, and you like to sit down in front of a fire and throw yourself in it while reading a lovely book, then Miss Baker's books are the best books to do that very thing with.
To throw yourself. That's not an endorsement. Throw yourself in the fire with a book.
We should do Night Mill style endorsements more on this show.
Gabriel Adelmar's favorite book. Thanks for watching. We appreciate all of you. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We will see you all next time. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye,
Goodbye,
everybody.
everybody.
Goodbye.